Evening. Excuse me, good evening. And welcome to the Enfield Town Council regular meeting, Monday, November 14th, 2022, 7 p.m. This meeting can also be viewed on YouTube. Prayer or reflection. At this time of Thanksgiving, I offer gratitude for our community and all those who volunteer their time. Our history dates back to 1689, land purchase from the Podunk tribe. The word Asnuntuk is the Native American term for fresh water and something that continues to be part of our landscape today. As tonight's reflection, I ask that we all take a moment to think about the diversity of culture here in Enfield that started 300 years ago as farmers, Shakers, and Indians shared this land with the hope that we may continue to embrace different cultures, religions, and opinions for an even stronger community. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and thank you to all of our municipal employees and to everybody in the town of Enfield. Thank you for everything that you do and how supportive you are of us. So thank you for that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kenzie, roll call.
Mayor Crissati.
Here.
Councillor Despard.
Here.
Councillor Finger.
Here.
Councillor Hopkins.
Here.
Councillor Ledwick.
Here.
Councillor Mangini.
Here.
Councillor Nelson.
Here.
Councillor Pisner.
Here.
Councillor Santinella.
Here.
Councillor Ungary.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sakala.
Here.
11 members present.
Fire evacuation announcement. In the event of a fire, there are exits in the back of the chambers, and to my left and the audience's right. Please exit through the doors and go downstairs into the parking lot. Item 5, minutes of preceding meetings. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes to the special meeting on October 17th, 2022?
So moved.
Councilor Nelson,
Second.
a second Deputy Mayor Sakala. Do we have any corrections or changes? Showing or none. By show of hands, all in favor? Against? Abstentions? Okay. There are 8 in favor, 3 abstentions. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting on October 17th, 2022?
So moved.
Councilor Mangini,
Second.
and a second by Councilor Pisner. Do we have any corrections or changes to the minutes? By show of hands, all in favor? Against? And abstention? That was nine in favor, 2 abstentions.
Mr. Mayor, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and move items 12L up to the next item on the agenda.
Second.
And motion made by Councilor Nelson and a second by Deputy Mayor Sakala. Item L.
We got to vote on the motion.
Where is it? Got it. Okay, we have to vote on the motion. All in favor? Against? Okay, 11 in favor, 10 in favor, 1 against. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council does hereby approve the proposal to create a temporary residential parking permit program for 120 days on the above referenced streets, effective December 1, 2022, subject to renewal on or before March 31st, 2023.
So moved.
Councilor Mangini,
Second.
and a second, Councilor Nelson. Town Manager, Zappo, do you have a couple of comments?
So tonight, the resolution is based on feedback that has been received for the parking situation in the residential areas of Francis Street, Highland Park, Pequot Avenue, and Nonotuck Street. There's been significant community conversations regarding this, and there's been some work done by the owner of Jimmy's Pub in order to identify ancillary parking that would conform with our zoning regulations, which would be parking within 500 feet adjacent to his existing location. Those efforts are ongoing and are actually looking very positive. At this point, however, that has not been secured due to insurance issues and other types of arrangements that would need to be made between the two business owners. So what we're doing today is moving forward with starting the process for the request to the town council for temporary parking for 120 days for residents only on these streets. At that time, we will be working with the neighbors to identify how to implement that through a sticker system, most likely, with signage, and what would the norms will be for enforcement, mostly complaint-driven, as it is now. At that point, we will continue to assist in any way we can with facilitation of safe and alternate parking for the patrons of Jimmy's Pub. And I emphasize safe because one of the issues that we're having is one of the locations is across the street. There are now some other ideas that have come forward that might be on the same side of the street as Jimmy's Pub, and we want those to come to a natural conclusion in terms of what those viable options are. We also have an ancillary issue that is going to get folded into this, which is related to this issue as we were discussing it, but also related to snow removal in Thompsonville. We're going to be doing a referral tonight to General Government and Finance concerning the fees that are attached to certain parking violations and other types of things, which are not in line with what other communities do, and frankly do not prove probably to be an incentive for enforcement because they're so low. So that will be dovetailed into this as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces. So tonight, this is strictly for the beginning of a temporary permit process to see how it works. We will be revisiting it, but it will also allow some breathing room for the owner to continue to pursue alternate methods, but also hopefully relieving some of the issues within the neighborhood at the same time. We also are concerned, as at some of the meetings where we've heard that some of the residents are likewise concerned about public safety access, and so this is going to be part of that entire review in terms of parking on both sides of those streets.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the speed at which this has all come together. I appreciate the many people who spoke to me individually about what's been going on in their backyard. I think this kind of resolution is something which balances the business interests with those of homeowners. Now, obviously, I think just about everybody agrees here, we want the business to continue functioning in our town. We also want people to be able to enjoy their house and their children to be safe. That's more important than the business interest for me, but I think this is a good balancing. We're going to have to see how well this works, just like with the prior suggestions and agreements from the last community meeting. But I'm really happy with this, and I look forward to seeing how this turns out. Please keep in touch with the town council as this goes forward, whatever happens with this. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Finger.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm behind this 100%, but we've had other issues around town that have the same issues. The state park down by Powder Hollow and stuff, and people have come up here many a times and have complained about the parking on the streets down by the park, in the park, and all we did was put up signs saying no parking. I'm okay with it, but if we're going to start handing out permits for special parking, we should start considering that for the homeowners that are living down by that state park. And the other one, because as you know, if you've been here almost a year, I think, we have had a lot of complaints about that down there. You know, our cops are down there by themselves. It's overtime for them, and, you know, they can't really, it's a hard time for them to control everything. But I think we need not just to focus on Jimmy's Pub. Like I said, I'm 100% behind this, but we need to focus on other areas of town that have the same issues, that people do come to us and maintain that. So it'd be nice if we can also start thinking about that also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other, Councilor Nelson?
I just want to thank Ken, because he has stepped up huge, and he hasn't nixed any ideas we've come up with. This is something that's new. We're trying to work through it. The residents are upset. I understand he spent a lot of money in this. He's considered valet parking, which is still on the table. That's huge for a business owner to take on. So I'm just asking everybody to be patient while we work through this. He is on board 100% to make this work. All of our ultimate goal is there will be no resident parking. He finds a permanent solution that will alleviate the problem, and you guys can have your street back. Everything goes to normal, and he can continue to run the business as he's done, and I've tried to explain to him, he's in a good place. You know, he could be sitting there Friday night with his family with no customers and no parking problems. So, you know, it's kind of a self-created good problem for them, but he has stepped up huge. I have had, I don't know how many conversations with the family, and I just want to thank them for working with the town and trying to come up with a solution. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Mangini?
Thank you. Through our mayor to our town manager, just for clarification, the resolution reads effective December 1. What steps are we taking in the interim?
So I consulted with the leadership at both the police department and the public works department and our legal staff today in order to make sure that we had a reasonable time period. It is something that is doable in terms of the 2-week window, because we have to do signs, we have to do some level of permit that cannot be duplicated. We have to do an enforcement education out to the officers so that they get a general order about what this looks like. And I do think that we have to do communication out to the residents about what the expectations are and what the permit program looks like. In addition to that, I think it's only appropriate that Jimmy's Pub has the requisite amount of notification time for their customers as well. They've already done a lot of internal marketing in terms of notices with their menus, talking to their staff, monitoring the departure times, but this is going to take it to a new level, because as one of our police staff pointed out to me today, somebody could arrive at Jimmy's Pub at like 8:30, 9 o'clock and leave at 11 and have a ticket. So there is a lot that has to go into really communicating out the most effective way for everyone to navigate that. And I think that it would be fair for both the neighborhood, the town, and the business to work together on that. So that is why I'm suggesting a 2-week rollout. And again, I think it's reasonable to do that with the resources available, as long as the supply chain issues are in place, that we have those materials readily available and can immediately turn around and produce them.
Thank you.
Councilor Ludwig?
Through the mayor and the manager, I think you explained a little bit, but the logistics, how this would work. So a car parks at 11 o'clock on the street. So how's it? So assuming, let's just say the officers are somewhere else, they're not in the neighborhood. Neighbor calls, officer goes over, doesn't have a permit. I'm assuming it's a sticker or something on the vehicle. Issues a ticket. Is that correct?
Kind of. So in the conversations with the neighbors who also were parsing out how this would happen, a lot of what they said is, we know the cars that belong. We know the cars that are visitors. We know the cars that's, Mr. Ludwig's mother-in-law that's visiting. So I believe that in a lot of these cases, it's still going to be a complaint-driven process. I don't foresee that there is going to be an active directed patrol in that neighborhood. But yes, now with the stickers there, we have to be very aware that complaint-driven is my preference, because if you're having a fire in your backyard and you have people that stay past 10 o'clock but don't have permits, they run the risk
Right.
of getting a ticket,
Right.
which makes the complaint-driven process a lot more palatable for the neighborhood, because they're not going to call because they know those cars and they know what's happening at, Ken's house.
So is there an appeal? So exactly that scenario, say mother-in-law's over, whatever, and for whatever reason, didn't call in, didn't let you know, we go ticket the mother-in-law. Is there an appeal process? There's always an appeal process
There's always
here?
an appeal process for any ticket.
And 10 to 6, so this is, I want to make sure I understand the language. Temporary, so what are we permanently looking to do? And I think to Councilor Finger's point, there are other sections of town where, again, we have no parking signs up and we don't basically enforce the no parking situation. So how, I guess, is there enough tickets? So if a car parks on the street once a week, 11 o'clock every Friday night, and we're ticketing them, I guess we're just going to keep ticketing them? Is that sort of, or is there do we start, is there a point where we tow? Just curious how this, because again, this logistically, understand why we're doing this tonight, but there are other parts of town where we have no parking signs and we don't tow cars. So is this, another thing, is this going to be an ordinance? So that's what I need to understand. So we're doing it a solution here, but is this going to be for all over town? And if it is, it's going to be an ordinance, because we need to be pretty consistent all over town.
So in terms of the consistency, to Councilor Finger's point, there are sections of the Scantic River neighborhood that are residential permit only. And that's a seasonal issue, because in that particular neighborhood, that's their quality of life
Right.
impact. They don't have a problem right now. They have a problem May through Labor Day.
There's signs right now,
Right.
if you drove down there, they say no parking.
Right. So, but they also, those streets that are immediately off of South
Oh, right,
Maple,
South Maple, yeah.
they have stickers. In terms of what are we looking for long-term, I think right now what we're looking for is an ability to alleviate the immediate issue, to allow Jimmy's Pub to continue on their journey to deal with what they have to
I'm
deal
in
with.
agreement there. I'm just thinking, what's the long?
In terms of the entire town, I think every neighborhood is different, and so it's an ad hoc addressing of issues as they come. Today, we had one pop up on Manning Road where there is a clear violation of tractor-trailer trucks in violation of their site permit. That's their quality of life issue that we're going to address with a cease and desist order. So I don't have an answer for you in terms of the long haul. This is a temporary fix right now before we move to an ordinance to see if it's effective, because we're not going to legislate ourselves into a situation with something that's not effective.
And that's my point. If this is an ordinance, we need to have a public hearing before we pass this, even if we're trying to do this quickly. I mean, we need to have a public hearing. And the other thing too, is it going to be police driven? You said complaint, or will we be having hearing officers do this? Or both?
This has come together very quickly,
I know.
so I don't really have all the answers, but my initial thought process was we've just received some new hearing officers that I think would be appropriate to take on this as well, including alarms, snow, blight, and the other ones that they do.
Again, I'm all for the temporary, but you can see where this across town, if we're only doing this in certain situations, this becomes completely unfair. And by the way, then we put our police officer in an even tougher position than we already put him in. So I'm just saying, I agree what we're doing here. I appreciate it, but we need to be very cautious what we do all over town, because I can already think of a couple neighborhoods off the top of my head where this is a big issue, where there's a sign, cars are parked there, and we never do a thing about it. And so, again, and I'm not, as we get, I don't want to jump issues here, and I'm not a big fan of all the fines that we're going to be talking about later as well, because I just don't believe that that's what government should be doing every time. But anyways, I appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for the responses, Ms. Sapo. Final comment that I would like to make is thank you to the residents, thank you to the owners of Jimmy's Pub for everybody's cooperation in this matter. This is a very difficult matter bringing up, and then it brings up other issues that we have here in town. This is a temporary 120-day fix, so to say, to see how this goes after 120 days. If this works well, then we go to the next process of an ordinance, and then we'll move forward. But let's take the 120-day route, see how everything goes. I think the Bedards have done a great job over at Jimmy's Pub. They've really turned that place around, and then the concerns of the residents are we've taken that very heavily, and we've come up with a solution, and I'm definitely in favor of it. And is there any other comments that anybody would like to make before we? Councilor Santinella?
I just want to say, I know that this is difficult for both the neighbors and for the owners of Jimmy's Pub. I have to say, my objection to moving this up is there are a lot of people here who I think would have liked to have been heard. I know that there's been a lot of work that has gone into this, and this was agreed on, and I just would have liked to have seen at least a representative from the neighborhood or Jimmy's Pub speak here tonight before we voted, but I don't think that that's possible at this point. So I just wanted to make that note.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody's here.
Excuse me, it's not that we're not having public communications. We're moving this up. There will be public communications. Okay. Roll call, please. Not roll call, a vote.
Mayor Crissati,
4.
Councilor Despard,
4.
Councilor Finger,
4.
Councilor Hopkins,
4.
Councilor Ledwick,
4.
Councilor Mangini,
4.
Councilor Nelson,
4.
Councilor Pisner,
4.
Councilor Santinella,
Against.
Councilor Ungary,
4.
Deputy Mayor Sakala.
4.
10 in favor, 1 against.
Okay. Next on the agenda? Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and bring item I up for discussion and vote.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Sakala and a second by Councilor Mangini. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. All right, by show of hands, all in favor?
Just as a,
Item
I want
I.
to be mindful of Mr. Noon's and Mr. Mathewson's time, so I'm asking to bring item I.
as a point of order, could you just say what that is so people understand?
Sure.
Go ahead.
The resolution waiving the bids for the purchase of bulk chemicals at WPCA.
You're welcome. By a show of hands, all in favor? Against? Abstentions? You're in favor? Okay. All right, 11 in favor. Thank you. The resolution waiving bids for the purchase of bulk chemicals at the Enfield Water Pollution Control Facility, whereas the town of Enfield generates approximately 22 tons of processed sludge each day, and whereas the Water Pollution Control Facility uses significant quantities of chemicals to possess and treat this waste, and whereas price volatility and supply chains issues have made it very difficult to purchase the necessary chemicals, and whereas it is vital to the public health that WPCF have flexibility in obtaining supplies from its available sources. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council does hereby find, based on the foregoing compelling public interest, in accordance with the Town Charter, Chapter 5, Section 8D, that is therefore against the best interest of the town to solicit bids for the purchase of supplemental carbon, liquid polymer, and sodium hypochlorite.
So moved.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Sakala, and a second by Councilor Mangini. Excuse me.
Point of order,
Excuse me.
which I can make a point of order. They need to be quiet so I can hear what's going up there. So that's why I would like them to be as quiet and in Robert's rules, the order is vital.
Thank you. For the second time, may I ask people to please be quiet when we're conducting business up here, please? I'd greatly appreciate that. Okay, with us is Donald Nunes.
Donald Nunes, Director of Public Works.
Todd Mathewson, Superintendent, the Water Pollution Control.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, the three main chemicals that we were talking about here again is sodium hypochlorite, which is basically chlorine, Micro C, which is a nutrient for the good bugs, and polymer, which helps thicken. I know everybody loves this word, the cake that is pushed out. We have gone out to bid we've gone out to bid every single year, and with the supply chain issues and everything else from that we've experienced through COVID and whatever, all the companies that we deal with did not extend their bids. We have a 1-year bid with 2 years of options. None of the companies signed on for a second year. So through some help with John Wilcox and finance, we were able to get some chemicals through to kind of limp us through right now. But we're at that point again. If we go out to bid, there's still going to be one supplier who may have to bid at such an inflated rate because of the market rate of the materials that we may be arbitrarily high right now, but we may save later on. But it's such a goofy time to purchase these chemicals that we just cannot seem to find where to buy them. And we know where to buy them from. It's just that we've maxed out, again, per charter rules. We're at that point now, again, we're just not getting the service because we're locked. No one's going to lock us into a price for those chemicals. And Todd can talk more about what those chemicals do in a little more fun way than I did. So,
Good evening, everybody. The AWWA, which is the American Water Works Association, put out an article this May on how broken the supply chain is for our industry. It's affected everything from polymers, chlorine, bisulfite, everything. Everything is just, it's not good. We have only 2 suppliers of polymer. Now, when the upgrade was done, they did a 30-day study with 3 different polymers to pick out the best polymer for our equipment. Every polymer, it's like a recipe. But you can't just go buy a polymer and expect it to work with your sludge. Everybody's waste sludge is different. It has different charges. And I got to get to my notes here. I'm sorry. It's past my bedtime. I apologize, folks. And the prices are changing daily. I asked for a quote one day for Micro C, and it's like, wow, I don't like that price. I wait a couple days, the price drops 50 cents a gallon. Wait a couple more days, it goes up $1 a gallon. It's just, it's so bad out there. I'm not sure how we get around this other than bid waivers. I mean, just the test polymer is doing jar testing. You'd have a company come in if they wanted to bid. Now, mind you, we only had 2 people last year bid on polymer, only 2 companies. And you come in and you do jar testing in the laboratory, so they'll tie up the laboratory for 2 to 3 days to find a product that may or may not work, and then you have to actually put it to the machine and run through different scenarios to ensure that you can get what you need done. Currently, we have the system so well optimized that we're using 2/3 less polymer than the O&M manuals even call for. And our cake is so good that we're hitting the maximum percentage on cake, which is 25%. It's working very efficiently, so I'd hate to have to change that and go backwards. Another chemical we use is Micro C. It's a glycerin-based product. You may be familiar with glycerin because it's in soaps, it's in different medications, they use it in food. We use it for bug food. So the Micro C we're buying now costs, well, today was like $4 a gallon, but to get medical grade or food grade, it's $20 a gallon. And we only had 1 person bid on that with the spec that would work with the new equipment we got with the upgrade. So it's very challenging to purchase chemicals. Does anybody have any questions?
chlorine and stuff. So again, we're just at a very odd point. Again, we do have there are some solutions out there, but again, it'd be, again, for the polymer, we'd be shutting down the plant. When we have to clean it out, we have to use approximately 100 gallons of mineral oil. We got to clean, we got to do testing, and it kind of just really messes with things, and that's no guarantee that it's going to even work on that prime. Again, right now, due to Todd's work down there, again, we're actually exceeding, like he was talking about, the 25%, which is the maximum that MDC will allow. So we actually had to loosen the cake up a little bit, as maybe is a gross way of saying it, but we had to loosen things up because he's doing too good of a job down there, and the polymer is working just perfectly that we have. So that's why we want it for that. And the Micro Cs, that the good bugs are those big, long, rectangular tanks that kind of boil and all that kind of good stuff. Micro C is to feed those good bugs to make sure they break down the stuff. Then the last one is chlorine, which we just, again, right before it exits into the river, we chlorinate it to bring it up to standard. So that's why, again, it's just fluctuating, I said, on a daily basis, and we just need some flexibility because right now nothing is, we have enough polymer to get us through until middle December. And Micro C, again, working with finance, we were able to get a new, we're topped off right now, but that won't last. We need to get something in within the next few months or so, and chlorine is until the spring.
We only have 4,000 gallon capacity for Micro C, but the smallest load I could even buy was 4,500 gallons. So we had to clean totes, and we're storing chemical totes on our washdown pad just so we could get a load in here. With the upgrade, we only had a 1,000 gallon tank, but I was able to put in a second tank for 3,000 because I kind of saw this coming down the pike. We have bulk tanks put in with a new upgrade that we can't use because of trucking issues. We're buying chemicals in totes and then transferring them into our storage tanks because you can't get bulk storage right now. I mean, bulk deliveries on chemicals. If they can't send an entire tractor trailer, if you have only 2,000 gallons in storage, but a tractor trailer is 4,500 gallons, they're not going to come to you. So now we're buying it in totes on a FedEx truck, dropping them off. I know we're 2 years out, but it's still extremely challenging with the supplies. And the Micro C system is brand new. We have 4 pumps dedicated to the basin to deliver our carbon supplement, and it's only designed to pump Micro C. There are other means, other things you can use as a carbon supplement. You could use acetic acid, you could use numerous other things, methanol, but our equipment won't pump that chemical into our process. So the upgrade kind of hurt us a little bit and made us a little more on the proprietary side than we should have done. But it's working really good. Our numbers are phenomenal. We're still, we haven't had a single permit violation since I've arrived. And our nitrogen numbers, the key thing with the Micro C is to remove nitrogen. It helps with the nitrogen removal process. We are still getting credits, even though it's almost a net zero for credits. I think we did about 30,000 last year, if I'm not mistaken. So we're making very clean water with the chemicals and the equipment.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Councilor Nelson?
Through the mayor, Todd, what's the price difference if we buy in bulk? Say we bought a tractor trailer load of it. I mean, is there that much of a price difference that if we installed a tank big enough to hold it?
They're actually, I have my wrong phone. I'm going to try to remember the numbers. So Micro C now is offering a price for different quantities. For the $4,500 load, I believe it was $4.17 a gallon. And I think for the smallest load they were willing to ship, I believe was 1,500 gallons for about $1.50 more a gallon.
Right, but what if we bought a whole tractor trailer load?
Well, that's what I did. That's what I did with a Micro C. So we have all our tanks filled, plus we have totes to be able to offload it.
Right, but is 4,500 gallons a tractor trailer load?
That is correct. That's the maximum allowed by law in Connecticut, I believe you can haul.
Okay. I didn't understand that part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Hopkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What would be the ideal storage setup to be able to accommodate the way that the businesses function for this stuff? If we can only get 4,500, do we need an extra?
I wish I could answer that. This is my 30th year in the industry. I've never seen anything like this. When the chlorine, first we had COVID, then we had the chlorine fire, so everybody's trapped at home, but nobody could buy chlorine for their swimming pools, and we were barely able to keep enough to keep our water disinfected. I've never seen times like this before. I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for sharing what you have. I mean, if you could, just have that question in the back of your mind as we approach, next year's budget, so we can think about, maybe having a functional. I mean, it's tricky for you guys to have to constantly move this stuff around, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, so some of the suppliers set those arbitrary limits now because they're trying to go out fully loaded, so they're not going to give you half or short loads as they call them. So that's their number, but that might not be our number. So that's why I said we have. You see them on the back of sometimes on B&G trucks. They're like 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot tall plastic cages. So plastic bins with like metal around them. That's what we offload into those. Then we pump it into the other tank just to get that full thing. We also do that on a similar note with highway with the magnesium chloride. Our tank holds 2,000 or 4,000 gallons. We can only offload 3,200 because of capacity, but we store it elsewhere. We have all our trucks lined up, so we do the same thing too to get maximum loads from it.
Thank you. Councilor Ludwig.
Welcome. 2 quick questions. So if we weren't having supply issues, what would be the normal bidding process right now? Just curious, for any of the chemicals. What would be, say it again, if we weren't having supply issues?
I've put this out for 4 years in a row, and we never had an issue until really last year. That when the renewals came up, and we start the renewal process in February, March, because we set the option of, do we want to keep you as the vendor and whatever. So we send that out, and it's universal that pretty much everybody is denied. On not only with Todd's part of it, but other parts of DPW, they just said we can't do it anymore. We have to worry about fuel surcharges because that wasn't bid as part of it. They want fuel surcharges, which is a whole very weird thing.
My only concern with the resolution is can we put a time limit on this? So again, maybe a year from now, again,
Yes,
maybe so there isn't a supply. I just don't want to give unending bid waiver. Completely understand the situation, and I agree you guys need the flexibility. But I would like to have a time limit. So again, maybe, and if a year from now the supply is still in, then so be it. We just renew. But I mean, kind of an infinite bid waiver worries me a little bit.
No, time limit. I have no issue with a time limit coming back again because again, the market may change, the supply change, things may right themselves. We don't know. I mean, so much has gone awry in the last year or two.
I know. I completely understand. But that's my only. I would like to offer a friendly amendment saying, the resolution is good till a year from whatever a year from now is, November 14th, 2023.
Absolutely no. That's perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it's amendment, so has it been seconded? Any discussion?
The amendment would be for 1 year, November 14th through 2023.
Or whatever council meeting was, or that corresponding council meeting in November of 2023.
Okay, and so that Councilor Ludwig making the amendment, and a second by Councilor Nelson. Any discussion on the amendment?
Thank you.
Councilor Mangini.
Could, through our mayor, to Councilman Ludwig, explain or point out where in the standing resolution the amendment would lie?
So maybe I'd say at the fourth whereas, it's vital to public health, have flexibility in obtaining supplies from all available sources, effective through November 14th, 2023.
So then my question to our mayor, why would we put a time frame on it? Why wouldn't we just leave it to our expert public works director?
Well, I mean, I have the floor. I can answer that. I mean, it's our job to control the finance, and he's the expert. But giving an infinite bid waiver doesn't make sense to me. Our job is to make sure if things change a year from now, we go back to normal, where we go to bid and we get the best price. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I
So
disagree.
here, this resolution before the amendment gives them an infinite. They can go out the bid waiver for whatever, for as long as they choose they need to.
Thank you. I disagree, and I won't be supporting the amendment.
Councilor Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would be supportive of that amendment. It also gives a nice kind of reminder for us to revisit this issue in a year. Do we need more storage? Has the market righted itself? And we're good there. I think it makes sense in this case.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion on this? I don't have an issue with this myself, but Councilor Finger.
So when you guys put your bids, I heard you say in Connecticut. We don't go outside of Connecticut for any of this stuff?
Oh, it's
None of this is in Connecticut.
I'm sorry?
none of the polymer, well, go ahead.
I'm sorry, none of the products we get are manufactured. Most of them are manufactured in the chemical plants down in Louisiana, North Carolina, maybe some in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, so it's not just like. we're
Nothing
sticking
is
to Connecticut.
local. No, we don't have any of these products locally.
Cool, thank you very much.
Okay, by show of hands, we will be voting on the amendment that was made, and the amendment would go in under the fourth section, whereas it is vital to the public health that WPCF has flexibility in obtaining supplies from all available sources effective November 14, 2023. Okay, all in favor? Against? Okay, motion, amendment passes 10-1. All right, now to vote on the resolution now, as amended.
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Counselor Despard?
4.
Counselor Finger?
4.
Counselor Hopkins?
4.
Counselor Ludwig?
4.
Counselor Mangini?
Against.
Counselor Nelson?
4.
Counselor Pisner?
4.
Counselor Santinella?
4.
Counselor Ungary?
4.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
10 in favor, 1 against.
Thank you, Donald and Todd. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Moving on with tonight's agenda, special guest from the Enfield Resources for Children, Executive Director Josue Azari. Would you like to come forward, please? And also with him is Anthony Romano. Welcome. Welcome, gentlemen. The floor is yours.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak with you guys. Again, my name is Josue Azari, and I'm the Executive Director at Educational Resources for Children, known by many in the community as ERFC.
And my name is Tony Romano, Manager of Operations, also at ERFC. Thanks for having us tonight.
As many of you guys may not know, we are a nonprofit organization here in Enfield, and we provide a variety of youth programs for children in the community. We provide some before-school programs, after-school programs, enrichment programs, summer camps, and we do a variety of different community events in the community. Our mission is to team with the community, schools, and families to grow resilient children through innovative community collaborations. We help children learn, reach their goals, and contribute to the community. Our vision for the organization is to be the premier choice for out-of-school time activities, ensuring that all children are provided opportunity to learn, explore interests, and develop friendships in a fun, safe, and encouraging environment. We try to build future leaders here in Enfield. Some unique benefits that parents have by participating in our programs. We are, like all of our after-school programs and before-school programs, are licensed programs by the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood. Our before-school program, we provide in 6 different elementary schools. We start a program at 7 o'clock, and we go until school starts. After school, we provide our after-school program all the way to 6 o'clock. When children also have half a days, they still come to our programs. We try to provide them positive role models in the program. We partner with Enfield Public Schools. We are not part of the public schools. We are separate entities. But we provide after-school academic support with school day curriculum, best practices, and evidence-based programs tied to state and national initiatives for school-aged children. And we also ensure that all children have the opportunity to explore their interests. Students that participate in a program have the opportunity to participate in blocks in literacy, sports, games, team building activities, arts and crafts, STEAM activities, and so much more. We provide, in our after-school program, 60% of our families receive financial assistance. We provide financial assistance. Also, we accept care for kids for children that don't fit in the category of the free and reduced lunch. We are able to provide children with the $5 rate due to some grants. We've received the 21st Century Grant, which allows us to provide kids when they produce the free and reduced lunch letter to us. And it's only $5 a week for children to participate in the program. We also receive funding for our after-school programs through Connecticut after-school grants. And we are, due to the support from the community, we are also able to provide financial assistance through people donating to ERFC to support our programs.
In the ERFC before and after school, one of the main things is that we do homework tutoring and academic help. After years of doing this, students' grades improve in core subjects. Teachers report that students complete homework on time and that the homework is correct. Students report that they better understand their assignments, and as students practice what they learn after school, fewer students require remedial help. Over the last year or so, we've implemented homework trackers for families where we communicate with the teachers and we have each student have homework for the week. We can monitor that. And back in my day, it was like a journal, a homework journal. So that has helped, especially with our teen program. And also in the after school, reading, STEAM, sports, literacy, and team building are our daily usage there. ERFC improves student outcomes by partnering with schools and families. We provide a safe, fun place for students to continue learning. We align school day curriculum with after-school activities, work with families to support their children's social, emotional, and academic growth. This year we've had multiple companies come on board for volunteers. United Way is a big program where they visit our after-school programs. They read to kids in grades K through 3. Right here in town, Costco, they also have a reading program, which I didn't know about. They're going to implement, based off the curriculum in school, they're going to focus on one school this year and hopefully expand that next year. We brought on a nice collaboration with BayPath and the Psychology and Education. They send volunteers down and they rotate through the schools. They mentor the kids. And we've actually had good luck hiring them after they've done that. So it's been a little plus for us. And a long-standing Yukon Nutrition. They come down from stores every Wednesday. They do some work at the food shelf. And then they jump over to school and they teach the kids about nutrition. They do a healthy snack together. And it's good for the kids to learn about nutrition.
So the other program we have is our after-school teen program, which is for grades 6 to 8. One of the things we did this year, because we had low enrollment last year, we were able to provide the program this year for free for the children to come after school. We believe that a lot of the middle school children really don't need care, but also are not sometimes are able to stay home by themselves. So the program gives children an opportunity to have positive role models and to participate in our programs. We try to help the kids with their homework after school, receive tutoring. We have a teacher that comes in and helps the children with their homework during after school program. One of the things we're implementing this year is to take our middle school kids on college tours throughout the year to start getting them to think of the opportunities that there are out there. We are also going to be working with a variety of businesses because not everybody's going to go to college, and that's okay, but you could still be successful not going to college. So we want to give the opportunities for the children to potentially pique their interest and maybe becoming a plumber, electrician. There's very successful people doing these jobs. So we want to be able to give the children this opportunity to be able to expand their horizon. We are also trying to do some robotics programs, teaching kids life skills in our teen program, and to prepare them for when they get to high school. We are also trying collaboratively, we're going to be hopefully working with also CREC to send some of their kids in from the high school to do some robotics programs with our kids throughout the year. So that's in the process of us trying to work with them currently. So each day the kids receive their 30 minutes of homework, and then they go into their activities throughout the day.
One of our bigger out of school time is our summer escape camp, available for not just Enfield students, families in surrounding towns, entering grades K through 8, which we changed this year. We started taking in kids that were starting kindergarten, and that was a big success. Our summer escape camp is a 7-week day camp located at Prudence Crandall, right here in Enfield. Camp is open daily from the end of June through August. Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. We do have extended day hours where parents can drop off beginning at 7 o'clock so they can get to work, and the kids can stay till the camp until 6 p.m. at night. So gives the family some options there. We switched our format a little this year, and we did a more variety of field trips. Some of the field trips we did this year were a mix of fun and educational. Sonny's Place, Connecticut Science Center, Basketball Hall of Fame, Forest Park, Dr. Seuss, Broadbrook, and Spare Time were some of the places the kids visited. We also received a Cox grant that we implemented during the summer, where we had a certified teacher come in and do technology. She was there on a daily basis, and she took all age groups and taught them how to do drones, coding, stop motion. They did some fossil digs, and they programmed Spheros on the laptop. So that was a big positive for us. The children have the opportunity to participate in weekly field trips, build self-confidence, independence, and creativity, participate in sports activities and educational enrichment activities while there. One of the things that we also have is our counselor in training. This is open in students in grades 9 through 12, and this gives them the opportunity to make a difference in our community while developing leadership skills and learning to become an impactful counselor and role model to the younger campers. We've partnered with Enfield High School now in their Career Center, where they're recruiting their students to join us over the summer, and once they turn 18, we give them the opportunity to come work for us. So hopefully they'll get a two or 3 years under their belt, and then when they're age eligible, they can come on and actually be a staff for us.
Just to add to our summer camp this year, we were able to provide an additional 35 kids with scholarships due to a grant that we were able to receive with money that was still left over in the state. So we're trying to work to see how we can still serve those 35 kids next year with it, but we also provided an additional 40-something kids with financial assistance during the summer. So the need each summer gets greater and greater of the need for families to be able to participate in our programs. We are also currently right now we only run the summer camp for 7 weeks. We are also trying to see if we could extend that because not many programs here in the community run after the 7 weeks. Where are the kids going for the next 2 weeks before school starts? So we are trying to look to see what other opportunities there are for us to be able to serve the kids during the summer. We also started this year to do a variety of enrichment programs. So we had the ERFC office in our conference room. We are doing some cooking programs, science programs, STEAM programs, arts and crafts, and we hope to start some sports programs this year in the spring. We also just started last week a preschool program for kids to teach them about 3 and 4 year olds, to teach them about science, and we did arts and crafts program. We had about 17 kids participate in the programs altogether. Our programs are to teach children to take thoughtful risk, engage in hands-on learning, persistent in problem solving, embrace collaboration, and work through creative process. Our programs also give our kids an opportunity to build self-confidence, build fundamental skills, sportsmanship, and learn how to work as a team. Children experience a variety of physical activities that contribute to active lifestyles.
Within our many events over the year, the summer celebration backpack and school supplies event is one of our most successful. It's a free summer celebration family festival on Saturday, August 26th from 10 a.m. to 2, and it's right here on the Enfield Town Green. The backpack and school supply drive is a collaborative community effort to make school supplies available to Enfield children in grades K through 12, so they are ready to succeed on the first day of school. We gave out over 1,000 backpacks this year, and most of the stuff was donated. Staples really steps up, and they give us all this, like almost a pencil box of everything filled in there. It was great to see, and it was our biggest distribution yet, so we're hoping to grow on that. We also do a summer lunch bunch where summer meals will, it ran with our summer program for 7 weeks to June to August this past year. This is where children receive a healthy lunch Monday through Friday. The rules change a little bit this year where the families had to actually come and sit down and eat. We'll be working with different organizations to see if we can change that a little bit. We had more success when it was a drive-up. But as the rules change, we'll look into that and hopefully partner with Enfield Food Shelf and Loaves and Fishes right here.
Our last activities that we do each month, we do a free family night for families to come and enjoy a free meal and participate in our activity. From this Friday, we will be doing a free family night at the Senior Center. We will be having the high school's robotics team participating at the event. And we're going to be doing a variety of games and activities for families. So any families that are interested, it's free. So hopefully everyone will come and attend. Some of the collaborations we have here in Enfield, we work closely with Enfield Public Schools, Enfield Public Libraries, Enfield School PTOs, Enfield Social Services, Family Resource Center, Youth Services, Kite, Enfield Food Shelf, Enfield Loaves and Fishes, Cox Communication, Cox Charity, Northeast, United Way of Central and Northwestern Connecticut, and the Carol Rivers Memorial Foundation. Children that participate in a program have a place to go during out-of-school time, succeed in life. So thank you for giving us this opportunity to share what we do here at ERFC.
Well, thank you for your presentation. Greatly appreciated. We've met several times. Very familiar with everything that you do for the community and the kids. So thank you very much. I do have just one question, and I know that's something that we've discussed before. And I know that's probably a staffing issue that you might have, but would like you to try to take a look at giving kids with disabilities an opportunity for your before and after program, because I know that there's a lot of families that are out there that do have that want to go out and work, and their kids should be eligible to take part in this program. So maybe you can collaborate a little better with the Enfield schools and the special ed department in regard to that. So just my 2 cents and my thought, but everything else that you guys do is, very worthwhile. And thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah, we try to work with all the families. So if there are any families that do want to have their kids participate, we do sit down with them and we go over kind of a care plan of how to best work with the family and child.
Great.
So,
Great to hear that. Thank you. Yep. Councilor Ungar.
Hi, thank you for coming. I heard you mention 3 and 4-year-olds. Do you accept anyone younger than that? I've had residents ask me, and I just don't know.
So our 3 and 4-year program is just our Saturday program. Yes, because we don't have anywhere else during the school days to do our programs. We just have an administrative office. So we're trying to expand the services we provide.
Okay, Councilor Mangini.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. As you know, I'm one of your biggest supporters. I've seen firsthand for many, many years the quality and the service and the dedication that ERFC provides for our community. I can't thank you enough for what you do. And I see the outcome in children across the board. So please keep it up. Let us know how we as a town can help. It's a phenomenal program, and I'll be back in the summer. Thank you.
Councilor Pisner.
Welcome. I had the pleasure of being invited to go to the JFK program, and I have to say, I was just amazed at having 6th to 8th graders, and the kids were happy. I mean, that's a tough age, but their homework was done. It was. You could see they were having fun. The counselors were working with them. I met the teacher that was on staff that day. The kids were so engaged, and I left there really impressed because it's a tough age, and it really is an age where they shouldn't be going home to an empty house. So I was happy that you could provide the after school for that age group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we will have public communications. At this time, I would like to remind everyone that public communication is designed for residents to be heard, and any person wishing to speak in front of the council, please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 5 minutes the first round and 3 minutes the second round. Please refrain from any personalities or any type of personnel issues. If they're personnel issues, then maybe a call to the town manager would be suffice. Ms. Price. Good evening.
Nikki Price, 1324 Enfield Street. As you are aware from my comments from September 19th regarding the PZZ resolution that the town staff submitted to the to the board, taking a straw poll, which kind of just put me over the edge, but that's besides the point. And the minutes that you were talking about too. So what I did was I purchased Robert's Rules for Dummies. So as I was reading the book, the dummy said that it's only a guide reference book to give the person a perspective at your meetings on what is Robert's Rules of Order. It said that you needed to purchase Robert's Rules of Order 12th edition, which I did. So now that I've said this, let me just read a couple of things. Okay. Page 2, it says when you need to make, oh, wait a minute. I am messed up. Oh, when you need to make a point in a meeting, be prepared to cite the real Robert's Rules. This is Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised 12th edition. So when you did the minutes and you said that you wanted to scale it back or whatever, like what Robert's Rules said, you needed to state what rule it was. So the rule is 48.2. So that's why I want you to know, if you're going to make rules and you're going to follow it, you should have it in your minutes or collectively from the town staff to say what rule it is. So then, when I was reading it, I would like to point this out. The rules in Robert's Rules aren't set up to give one side an edge over the other. They exist to help you arrive at the true will of the assembly with due consideration for all points of view. Adding a few basic rules of procedure into your arsenal puts you more in control. Preparation helps you know when to assist on technicality and when not to worry about them. So I just want, because in my past, looking at the town council over the years since I've been here for 30 years, sometimes it's the majority thinks they can rule the minority, which can't. You all have an equal say on what the rules are for the board. Okay, so page 60. Okay, which I think is really important. It says, when you're in the chair at a meeting, your job is always maintain the appearance of impartiality. The quickest way to lose control is allow your personal agenda to control the decisions you make while presiding. You can run the organization from day to day, and you can even have an agenda, but your floor leaders have to stand on their own when you're in the chair. Otherwise, you're sunk. To ensure that you see, as the leader of your group, keep these tips in mind. Well, then it just tells you what the tips are. But basically what the book says is that know your bylaws. So what I did was I printed out the bylaws and I started reading them. And I have some questions because I just think there's maybe mistakes that need to be corrected. So the first thing was all reports underneath agenda, which is on page 2, number 3. All reports, communications, ordinance, or other matters to be submitted to the council shall, at least 6 days prior to each council meeting, be delivered to the town manager, whereupon the town manager shall arrange a list of such matters according to the order of business and furnish each member of the council with a copy of the same at least 3 days prior to the council meeting. When I read that, I'm just giving this as an example. It was the diversity ordinance or resolution that you had. Now, my point is that when I was here at that meeting that night, there was a couple council people that said that they only received it on Friday. So my question is, did the town manager receive it on Friday and forward it to the council on the Friday before the meeting? If that's the case, that's only 4 days. So I just think that if you're going to follow your own bylaws, that you should follow your bylaws and have everything dated. So this way the public can see exactly when it was received by the town manager and when it was given to the town council. Now, it says special meetings may be called by the mayor, the town manager, or requested by any 2 members of the council if, in the opinion of those members of the council, the subject matter demands immediate attention and cannot be deferred to the next regular meeting. Now, I think this is important because one of the council members here asked for a special meeting when a member of this community.
Excuse me.
Yes, you spend 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll come back, and that's another thing, too, about the 5 minutes. There's a couple of mistakes that you have in here.
Okay, thank you.
The police were on Francis Avenue, they left here, and there's a shitstorm going on right now over there, so I thought I'd let you guys know.
They took all their cars from the parking lot and parked them on the streets.
Kelly Jackson, 30 Mead Lane. Good evening. I hope that all of you were able to watch the body cam. It will help you to understand where I'm coming from. I guess it was all sent to you this weekend. One would think that after the arrest, I would be moving on, but my confidence was shaken with the police department. Now, I'm not here to tear down the department. I am here to work on making it better for our community. I am requesting a creation of a civilian review board through our Public Safety Committee. The situation involving my son was completely chaotic. A lot of things went wrong that day. It was a case closed, done deal. If I had not known about FOIAs, then it would have stayed that way, and the person who threatened and used racial slurs at my 14-year-old doing something innocent for school would have gotten away with it. So that leads me to ask, how many others have gone through something in this town where they felt due justice wasn't served? Does everyone know about FOIAs? The people in this town deserve to have a second set of unbiased eyes. It also helps our police. Like in this case, it was missed because so much was going on. They were able to rectify it because I brought it to their attention. Which leads me to bias. I was told that our police department receives top-notch bias, implicit bias training. I actually got to take a look at it. It covers a lot. But my questions are, how do you know that every officer is adhering to them? Are they paying attention to the training? Training is great, but it needs to be used in every situation. I understand we are human. Our police are held at a higher standard, and I ask these questions because of my son's incident. My son became the aggressor, and the criminal became the victim. In one of the police bias trainings, they talk about stereotypes and blink responses. Blink response is linking people on site to the stereotypes associated with their group. Hence, I can see where the homeowner could think that their car is getting broken into. On a sunny summer Saturday morning. So I ask that this be put into consideration as quickly as the DEI committee was. Also, Marie, I watch town council meetings regularly, and you are one to preach that you are all need to work together.
Absolutely. Welcome back.
You say that we all need to work together to make Enfield better, but for some reason you felt the need to share an unhinged resident's video about a fellow constituent on the BOE. That is not working together. Thank you.
Do I have to touch the red button?
Yes. It's on. It's on. Just state your name and address. Thanks.
Press it again.
One more. There you go.
Patrick Dennehy, 110 South Road, apartment 77. I come here tonight to state we need help at Mark Twain Congregate Living. There's a city ordinance that says that you're not allowed to smoke in the building or in your apartment. Thanks, Ken. I approached the housing authority. They just tell us there's nothing they can do. We have oxygen in the apartments. There's 11 of us that have oxygen. 2 years ago, a gentleman on oxygen lit a cigarette. He passed away because of the burns on his body. They just don't want to hear what some people have to say. That's all I have to say. I just need your help. There's as you know, Mark Twain is on town property. There's an ordinance that says you are not allowed to smoke on the premises. But we don't get no satisfaction. Once again, I thank you. I've been watching you guys on TV for umpteen thousand years. I know Mancini, I know Ken Nelson, and I thank you for just listening to me. Thank you, Sidney Mancini. I don't know what I would have done without you. And I thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to approach the council?
I think we're on, right? Good evening. Kevin Riley, 14 Pleasant Street. I come back before you guys to say that I am really satisfied with all that's gone on over by my property. I think that choosing Weiss was a great idea, and they've been very considerate of me and my neighbors, and have done a fine job. I thought that it was important that I came to tell you. I appreciate the town manager staying in touch with me, and my friend Steve. I also appreciate Nelson for all of the time that he's spent with me over there and keeping me in the loop. And my friend Mark, basement attorney, who should probably be moved up a floor. He's earned it. So thanks a lot for all you guys did with me, and I appreciate it. And looks great over there. And I hope that you go forward with your plans, and I can be of any help to you in that matter. We still have to do that parking lot next door, Steve. All right? I blew it off and I cleaned it all up. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you. No. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Bob Bukowski, 21 Francis. I'd like to say a few things about the Jimmy's Pub situation. Thank you for your vote earlier. But to elaborate on that a little bit, and right, I don't know if you folks are probably getting texts too. My neighbors are. There's a big problem going on right now. So I'm in favor of resident-only permitted parking for 100 days. I'm also in favor of resident-only permitted parking as a permanent solution. I'm not in favor of parking on, and this has been discussed, so I wanted to clarify my feelings. I'm not in favor of parking on one side only as a solution to this problem. One side of the street parking only will resolve the emergency vehicle issue, but it will not resolve any of the other issues that will shift, and it'll only shift the problem to the entire street instead of just primarily the upper half of the street. So the entire street's going to get the same problems that are occurring now if you do one side of the one side parking only. I would hope that the permits would be removable permits, similar to handicap permits, and transferable, so that the homeowner can place them in their guests' vehicles and remove them when the visit is over. Also, there should be enough permits per resident to accommodate large gatherings. This may be a little cumbersome, but it's a solution to the people who have voiced opinions over large gatherings. I was going to leave this next part out, but in view of what's happening right now, I'll say it. Jimmy's Pub does not have a guaranteed right to on-street parking, nor does any other business in town. On-street parking is more of a privilege than a right. The town has a right to regulate parking anywhere. The behavior of Jimmy's Pub customers, some, not all, as well as the increased traffic, are very legitimate justifications to restrict parking on the neighboring streets. Jimmy's Pub today is not what Jimmy's Pub has been over the last 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, it's a very successful nightclub now, and people are going to try to justify that it's been like this forever. It hasn't been like this forever. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. I am Pam Townsend, 54 Kimberly Drive, and most of you know me as the location coordinator for Wreaths Across America. However, today I am here as a veteran, an Army retiree, and then as a location coordinator. As a veteran, I'm here to publicly thank the Girl Scouts, the Enfield Girl Scouts, the Enfield Boy Scouts, the Scout leaders, their families, and their friends. These young people, and I don't know if the town people understand this, go out twice a year, about a week before Memorial Day and Veterans Day, to place U.S. flags on veterans' graves, about 5,000 of them, and that's where I get my count from. And they're throughout Enfield. These two groups of future leaders coordinate and work with the different veteran organizations to make sure our veterans are remembered. So Enfield, these are the people placing flags at your loved one's final resting place. To the parents of the young people, I encourage you to get involved with the Scouts. Get your children to join the Scouts. They are great organizations, and they develop our future leaders. And again, as a veteran, I'd like to give a big shout out to the Enfield Girl Scouts for distributing homemade cookies to 206 local veterans. They have been doing it for the past 9 years on or around Veterans Day. Even during the pandemic, they delivered to veterans, but instead they gave out wrapped candy. They did a great job, and in my home there are 2 veterans, and we both appreciate the delivery. And I don't know if anybody saw the letter to the editor from the World War II veteran today in the JI, and he talked about the cookie deliveries and how much it was appreciated. And as a Wreaths Across America location coordinator, I am here to remind everyone that National Wreaths Across America Day is December 17th. And the ceremony takes place at St. Patrick's Cemetery and begins at 12 p.m. We are in need of volunteers to help place, hold on to your hats, we are covering the entire cemetery for our veterans, 1,700 veterans this year. So we are in need of volunteers to help us do that. And with that, there is something very special about placing a wreath on a veteran's grave and then saying their names. So I challenge you all to stay after the ceremony and help place some wreaths. And it is very rewarding if you haven't done it. And for those in TV land, if your organization would like to volunteer as a group, please contact me at enfieldwaa@yahoo.com. Individuals should contact me as well, but you can just show up. It's easy to fill in individuals. No one will be turned away. And having said all of that, by contacting me, it helps keep placing wreaths organized and respectful. We do have an ADA accessible comfort station for everyone to use this year, too. After 15 years, we finally got one in there. So arrive early, stay late, dress according to the weather. And as a veteran and a location coordinator for Wreaths Across America, I am proud to say that Enfield is my home, and I thank you for all your support.
Okay. Thank you. Next, yep.
How are you? My name's Sarah Petrowitz. I am 14 Francis Ave. I just wanted to say thank you for the 120 days to make a decision on it. I ask that when it's time to really make the decision to think not so much about the November hours of the business, but the summer hours of the business. Lots of us on Francis Ave moved to a dead-end street because we have children, and the ability for them to ride their bikes up and down the street is really important to a lot of us. And I can't speak for other parents, but I know for myself, I'm not going to be comfortable in summer at 7 o'clock saying my kid can go up and down the road when people are stumbling to their cars or vomiting in our streets. So that's all I have to say, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to approach the, go ahead. Lucian? Yeah.
Lucian Lefebvre, 54 Kimberly Drive, also Vice Chairman of the Enfield Veterans Council. I'm here tonight to thank the town council and the town staff for the support that they give us when we do our Memorial Day and Veterans Day parades. Without the support of the town, it wouldn't happen. I also want to throw a big thanks out to the Buildings and Grounds for the setup that they do. I mean, whatever we ask for, they're there on top of it. Enfield PD for traffic control, Enfield High Music Department. Along with the marching band coming down the parade route, they also do the service songs at the ceremony at the green. They got us a soloist to sing the national anthem and the buglers to play taps. And I, as Pam did, want to throw a big thanks out to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts for putting those 5,000 flags out in the cemeteries. And I also want to throw a big thanks out to the Growth Company. They go out and place all the wreaths at the different monuments within the town. So they make sure that they're out there prior to either whatever occasion it is that we require them to do. If anybody wants to participate in the parades, all they have to do is notify the Enfield Veterans Council. We're looking for groups, organizations. If somebody wants to put a float in the parade, we only ask that it's patriotic because of what the parades are, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. And we would be more than happy to have anybody that wants to participate to make our parades better. Also, I'd like to see a little more participation along the parade route. Memorial Day is not an issue. Veterans Day, for some reason, just doesn't get out there like the Memorial Day one does. And I'd just like to see more participation. I appreciate everybody that did come out. It was a nice day, and the rain held off until the very end, that sprinkle we had at the green. So again, I just want to thank all the town staff, everybody that helps us out, and the 5 veterans organizations that collaborate to make the parade happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to approach the council?
I haven't even started yet. Can't even believe it. Walter J. Cruzell, 21 Charlie Road. Ever since Signgate, just give you my perspective of what's been going on last month. We had some candidates from out of town walking on Pearl Street, along with our own candidates, on a Saturday. And all of a sudden, I look in my rearview mirror, and there's a policeman behind me who claims that there was a complaint of a unknown vehicle on Pearl Street. So I apologized to the policeman, gave him my 110% support for what they do and the hard work they do. Last Monday, I participated with a few of us to go around town to pick up our campaign signs. And I was personally stopped, 4 people personally stopped and told me I was breaking the law. And it was illegal, that the signs shouldn't be moved till Wednesday. I thanked them for stopping, that they understand, and they, want to make sure it's right, but I had to show them that these were our signs. We were picking up only our signs so we can reuse them at the polling place. So that was my issue last Monday. And now I'm going to do a little PSA, a public service announcement. Councilor Mangini, there is still a sign out on Hazard Ave by the railroad tracks. Councilor Santinello, there is 2 signs for the public safety complex still out, one on Broadbrook Road and one on the corner of Taylor and Hazard Ave. And then I'm going to do a little truth detector, or whatever they call it, a fact checker. In the year 1919, this building didn't exist, and this town green didn't exist. So there was no way that somebody was out there reading the list of people that came back from World War I. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wants to approach the council for the first time?
Peter Janitis, 3 Farmstead Circle. I'd like to see this town council work together like what I saw Tuesday at the polling places. I worked off and on for about 6 hours at JFK, and I thought the camaraderie between the Republicans and the Democrats was great. They were coming over to talking to us. We were going over to talk to them. There's a lot of communication going on, a lot of laughing going on. So it can be done. And it's nice to see you all. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Janitis. Is there anybody that would like to approach the council for the second time? Okay.
Nikki Price, 1324 Enfield Street. I just want to finish my thought. Underneath on page 6, I'm just going to read it. I just want to point out to the council that it says, during public communications, item 7 on the agenda, public members addressing the council shall limit their remarks to 2 rounds, 8 minutes. During public communication, item 16 on the agenda, public communication, public members addressing the council will be limited to the 1 hour and time constraint as described in the agenda section of policies and procedures section 2. But when you go to your item 16 on your agenda, it's adjournment. I think you meant to say, where is it? Oh, item 14. That's your second half of your public communications at the end of your meeting. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, I think my reputation in this town precedes itself knowing that I'm a person that believes that government is for the people, by the people, and of the people. And with that, government needs to be transparent to the residents, to the citizens of the town. And when things don't happen, I have said it, I have come up when it's a Republican majority, Democrat majority. I have come up with the Board of Education when things are not done transparency. And I just think that one of the things that can be beneficial to this town is that anything that is posted to the website is time-stamped as to when it was received, who received it by. Because I just want to let you know, from the attorney Landolina submitting that percentage of the acreage at the time of the public hearing. Now, what happened was town staff told me in an email that, in other words, whenever the applicant comes up, it's done by a professional engineer. That wasn't, because my husband taught me how to go into a document and open up the metadata to find out who wrote it, when it was created, and when it was last amended. And that person who created that document was the landscape director of Fusco and O'Neill. So I just think you just need to have everything be more transparent with everything, because I just thought it was funny when I received an email from the town staff saying that they trust the applicant will use a professional engineering when it comes to percentage of acreage. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to approach the council?
Lucian Lefebvre, 54 Kimberly Drive. I just want to say, as a taxpayer, I was happy to see the approval to get our public safety complex done. It was a big thing for the town, and I think it's going to work out good for the town. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to approach the council? I declare public communications over. Thank you. Next, councilor communications. Is there anybody? Councilor Santinella.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have just one thing tonight. I do want to extend my thanks to everybody who helped work on the referendum efforts that we put together, including members of the council who put signs out and who were willing to support that, who voted for it. We got a lot done in a very short period of time, and I think, you know, odds were against us on that front, but people here came together, the unions came together, and the community stepped up and supported something that I think is going to be beneficial to the town. Mr. Krusell, you have my permission to remove any signs that you see, but if you don't want to do that, I'll be happy to get to Broadbrook Road. So much for working together. And Mr. Giannitis, I would say to you, I have made as much effort as I possibly can to talk to my Republican colleagues, and anytime Republicans want to have a conversation, I am always open. You're right. On election day, we got along, and I would love to work together like that. We don't have to agree, but invite me out, invite me to a meeting. I am more than happy to come and talk to you, even though we may not end up agreeing in the end. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Mangini.
Thank you. Walter, I left that sign there in hopes that you would pick it up and put it on your lawn the next time. No, seriously, we'll take care of it. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that out. Through our mayor to our town manager, perhaps, Ellen, you could give us an update on the situation at Twain with Mr. Dennehy's situation. I know there's a police report that he filed for some vandalism. Maybe during your town manager report, you could address that. And then the last thing, I was asked by a resident to read this email. This particular resident, Robert Maltese he's a Sherwood Manor resident, is unable to attend tonight's meeting. So I agreed to read it into the record. Good evening. I'm reaching out as I am unable to attend the meeting, share my thoughts regarding the Jimmy's Pub situation. I've been a resident all my life. I grew up in Green Manor. I'm raising a family in this town. I work in this town. I played baseball for Thompsonville Little League with Mayor Crissati as one of my coaches. With that being said, Enfield is my roots, and it disappoints me to see that they're trying to punish a small business for being successful rather than acknowledging that the issue is with the patrons, not the business. It is difficult to understand that punishing the business for the actions of grown adults whom are causing issues outside of the establishment. I understand the parking inconveniences can be troublesome, but the other complaints, such as fornicating in a vehicle, littering, and excessive noise, are law enforcement issues, not issues the establishment should have their hand in. In regards to resident permit parking, when you say resident, do you mean any town of Enfield resident? If not, why? I pay taxes just as much as the residents of that neighborhood. Those are town-maintained roads paid for by my tax dollars and maintained by my tax dollars. I have every right to legally park on that roadway as any of the residents or their visitors. If we're going to require permits for those streets, why are we not requiring permits for Scantic area during the summer months, since they're dealing with the same issues? Instead, we place a police cruiser down there on overtime with the cruiser at a rate of $74 plus an hour. As the town manager indicated, making that neighborhood resident-only parking, you will force patrons to park across one of the busiest streets we have in town, then cross during the darkest of night, increasing the patron's risk of being injured. Have we inquired with our town attorney if we could be held liable, as we're forcing the hand of patrons to park in potentially dangerous areas? Additionally, who's responsible for enforcing those permits? We're going to have officers hand out parking tickets rather than patrol neighborhoods for the growing catalytic converter thefts, automobile burglaries, and other crimes, while their shift minimum is not the same on other shifts. The decision has much more broader effect on all of the residents of the town, not just that small group. I welcome any response from any of you with questions or concerns. I am also would love for one of you, obviously, to read this comments on my behalf during the meeting. Thank you for your time. Signed, Mr. Robert Maltese, Sherwood Manor resident. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Pisner.
Through the mayor to the town manager, on the PAR report, it says here under the school door security, it was completed on DPW's end, and there's a PowerPoint presentation. When are we going to be able to get that?
I have not seen that, but I can inquire. I know that it was scheduled to go to joint security when it was completed.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to briefly say I disagree categorically with the idea that this proposed and passed resolution to limit parking on a couple town streets is anti-small business. I think the town manager, I think the town council has been very, very careful and receptive to make sure that we are not squashing the good work of one of our local small businesses. I think we absolutely have to care about what happens to residents of especially if they live on dead-end streets and have young kids. I think this is a very fair thing to do, and it has been done very thoughtfully. But as this 120-day period elapses, please reach out. If this isn't working, we want to know to reconfigure this. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Finger.
Thank you, Mayor. So a couple things. One is, no, this is not dirt on my face. This is my way of growing a beard, full beard. So this is Men's Health Month. November is Men's Health Month. You're not supposed to shave, and it's a no-shave thing. I myself am a survivor of cancer, and that's why I try to do this, and my wife hates me. And the other thing, too, the reason I'm wearing purple is also, too, is not because of T's Councilor Pisner, because she's a Packers fan, I'm a Vikings fan, is to know that this is also Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. So my sister passed away with pancreatic cancer. My mother passed away with pancreatic cancer, and it is hereditary, and anybody out there who has had a family member pass away with pancreatic cancer, because it is one of the deadliest cancers around, because by the time you find it, it's too late. There are ways of being checked, and that's just my suggestion is if you know anybody in your family that has it, check yourself and get your family checked, and let's beat this terrible murder of cancer. Thank you.
Councilor Ludwig.
Mayor, Town Manager's question on the roads year one, year two, are the public hearings already, so we usually have public hearings with neighbors before the work. Does that happen in both situations? If not, we make sure that we used to send little notes out to folks, say, look, on X date, so you can come and listen to what the presentation is going to be and then give some input for both. I don't know if it's happened already. I apologize if it has, but if it I know I spoke to someone in Yale, and if we could make sure that either we send a notice or put it on our website, or let us know so we can publicize, or, on the public hearings before the road work. And then just want to thank an individual for the paper. I'm assuming it's Mr. Tikaz, and about the strategic reserve. If not, I'm giving you props on this one. Again, I just want to reiterate that I think we need to be prepared. And I know we spoke a little bit last meeting. You mentioned there's like $10,000 or something in the social services. It's not going to be enough if folks can't afford their utilities in the winter. I think we really need to have a plan ready to go. And I think we're going to need probably $500,000, depending on what happens. I mean, I think with the supply and not, the article says it here. If unfortunately the cost continues to rise, they're not going to be able to, if I believe the article, replenish the strategic reserve till September 23. That's a pretty long time frame as we get through the winter. So I'm just saying I'd like to at least have a plan, and maybe we don't need that amount of money, but we need to be prepared to help people with their utilities and their oil and their gas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Ungary.
I just wanted to mention the Enfield Farmers Market is being held on Sunday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and it's been moved indoors. It's over at the Enfield Square inside the old Macy's men's store. And this past Sunday, it was a great turnout. A lot of people came. And through the mayor to the town manager, do we have a count of how many vendors were there last week or that we anticipate for next Sunday?
We are tracking that. I can get you that number, but I can tell you that we are still having people sign up, including somebody that came in today. So I think it's going to continue to grow.
There was quite a few, I think over 50 on Sunday, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Nelson.
Okay, a couple things. Through the mayor to the town manager or the town attorney, what legal recourse does the council have with Mark Twain as far as smoking on the premises? Because that is a safety issue at least. I know with marijuana and stuff like that, they can do edibles instead of smoking it, if that's an issue, but it's a concern, and I don't know if we have any grounds to get involved in this. So maybe through the town attorney's report, he can address this?
So I don't have a full picture of this yet. Councilor Mangini brought it to my attention over the weekend. I've requested the police report, and the Housing Authority Director, Scott Bertrand, and I traded phone calls today, but we have not connected. It is not town-owned property. It's the property of the Enfield Housing Authority. But obviously, we can at least get information so that when you receive phone calls like this, you at least have the information about what's happening.
Right. Okay. So we're working on it. Okay. Next is the Jimmy's Pub situation. It's not a good situation. We all know that. We did the best we thought for right now to try to quiet this down. I will recognize somebody mailed out planning and zoning documents. I believe Nick got a copy. Anybody else? But anyways, they are correct that Jimmy's Pub does have to go through a planning and zoning public hearing. And that is the time where everybody can speak their piece for or against his liquor license. He is not permitted for live entertainment at this time. DJs, live bands, any of that, he's not legally supposed to be doing. Residents are aware of this, and they can speak up in his favor to help him get this through or against him. But after actions tonight, I just don't see a lot of people in support who live in the area. It has not been this way forever. It was a pizza restaurant with tables in it. Then it got a little bar in it. The bar got bigger, and now it's a pub. So we're trying to make a compromise. Nobody's going to be happy with it, but it's planning and zoning situation now, and people need to be aware and watch out for whenever that meeting's posted, the public hearing, they can speak. We don't have the authority to make those calls. And then Lucas, the Veterans Day Parade, I want to thank you. I mean, you're thanking us. You put it together. You put a lot of work into it, and it's tough to keep it going. Anything I can do to help you, I'm there for you. My father was a veteran, and flags are on his grave all the time, and it's because of people like you. So I want to thank you personally for that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yep. Deputy Mayor Sakala.
Thank you. Through the mayor to the town manager, wondering if we could do a referral, and I would think maybe Public Safety Committee, to discuss maybe what Ms. Jackson was talking about regarding a review committee. I know that we have one scheduled for this week, so obviously it won't make that agenda. But I would assume that might be the appropriate subcommittee to discuss if that's even an option.
That was going to be my recommendation on the follow-up items for tonight. So it needs to start somewhere from a discussion standpoint, and I think Public Safety Subcommittee is the right fit.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple of comments that I would like. First of all, thank you for everybody up here at the council for your councilor communications tonight. Being positive in regard to everything moving forward with what we're doing here, council-wise. I just want to mention to everybody that the town is moving forward with the creation of the Diversity Committee. And tonight, all council members received packets of those who have applied and asked to be nominated for this committee. I want to take this opportunity just to urge residents who still may be interested in serving on this new board to go to the town website and choose the drop-down menu, the government tab, and choose boards, committees, and commissions. Right now, we are going to keep this open till next Monday, November 21st. At that point, if there's any other applications that come in, they will be forwarded to each and every one of us. We will review them, and we're looking for our next council meeting, December 5th, to name the people that will be on this board. So we'll have a little homework to do between now and then. All right, so we're excited to see where this committee is going to be taking us as a community, and want to make sure that everybody has a chance to apply. And just let me state this one final time, that applications will be accepted through November 21st. The other thing that I just want to mention, I know Ken mentioned it, but once again, for Pam and Lucian, thank you. Look forward to Wreaths Across America coming up. Looking forward to always placing a wreath on a veteran's grave. It's quite touching, and I've been doing that for the last several years. But I also want to mention that I did get invited by the Rosignol family to attend their daughter's National Signing Day, and I told the family that I would reach out. And I just want to congratulate Alyssa Rosignol on her national letter of intent signed with Niagara University to play basketball there. She's a standout athlete, student athlete. She's a role model to the younger kids here in town. She does a fantastic job. She's an all-state player. She works hard on and off the court. She's going to be starting her last year here at Enfield. They're looking forward to having a great season, and I'm sure that she will maintain all her accolades. And after the season, I would like to recognize her and invite her to the council, after her season and after her career, because she is somebody that has really put in her last 4 years, really dedicated to her studies, dedicated to her athletics, and dedicated to the town of Enfield and helping younger youths in her mentorship. So I just wanted to give a shout out to her also on that. The other thing that I'm just going to mention to everybody, the flu season is in full swing. COVID is still rampant amongst us. I'm asking all residents, please do not let your guard down. Get your flu shots. Stay updated with your vaccinations. Stay healthy as we enter the holiday season. And, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I just want to mention that Sunday, December 4th, is Torchlight Parade, which kicks off the holiday season here in town, which will be the lighting of the big tree here at the town hall. So, thank you for that. All right, moving onward to the town manager report.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a few things to update you on. Obviously, the public safety complex was a huge win for our collective efforts, and we're going to start working with the state of Connecticut OPM office and get that in place so that that bond resolution can be formally approved. We've been spending a lot of time on economic development. We are currently in conversation with a cannabis cultivator, cannabis retail. We're continuing to work with Mr. Mastroberti for the farm brewery that's proposed. We have some interest in some larger parcels in town as well, so we're spending some time there. I'm hopefully meeting with the new president of Connecticut Water sometime next week. We have some interest in the Nathan Hale School. Nelson Tereso and I did a site visit to Control Modules to meet them and also discuss with them some of their vacant land potential, as well as the school that they still own on Brainerd Road. And we're continuing conversations with solar. So it's been pretty big with some emphasis on ramping up our economic development to benefit the Grand List. Senior tax relief met for the first time, and they are beginning the process of creating a policy to see what that will look like and have that dovetail with your budget deliberations. So you expect to see a report from them in early spring. And I did reach back out to the chairs of the fire commissions because we had tentatively scheduled a meeting for the end of October. That was canceled. And I asked them to restate their interest in meeting again. And I've heard from all but one fire district stating that they would like to meet. We are gearing up for cold weather and the protocols that are in place, and there's good news from Safe Harbor. The board of directors voted to move up the opening of the shelter for 7 nights a week from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m., starting on December 1st, which is considerably earlier than what they've done in the past. Funding and volunteers are still needed, so we're hoping that people will step up. Lot happening at the Strand and Lamagna sites, as Mr. Riley referenced, and I will just preface tonight with there may be more exciting news about that parcel coming. So we'll tell you more in December. The South River Bridge Street project, the logistics and the communications plan are about to be launched, and we're going to be doing a lot to prepare the neighborhood, the people who visit that neighborhood, as well as the people on the other side of the bridge as to what's coming and what that sequence looks like. We're looking at reapplying for the Community Investment Fund. The second round is opening. And in terms of ARPA, I wanted to update all the counselors to let you know that the last day for the small business ARPA grants is Friday. That will be taking applications. And we will also be launching those nonprofit ARPA grants for November 29th. We wanted to have a little bit of separation so that there wasn't a lot of confusion, but any nonprofit could start looking for that information to get posted to the website probably in the next week. We're putting the finishing touches on a question and answer form so that they will have all of that information at their disposal. We're also very happy that we've brought on board one contracted grant writer. I believe the name of the firm is Frog Hollow. They do a lot of work with nonprofits and on the human services side. So because of that, we are going back out for another RFP to try to attract a grant writer that has more of an infrastructure and projects background, because there's a lot of money with infrastructure right now as well. So just in the past month, there was a Thriving Communities grant that got referred by Congressman Courtney's office that I'm not sure we're going to have the capacity to do. There was a farmer's market food source capacity grant that we are probably going to pass on. And there's also the HVAC grant for schools. Lots of things that are out there, but with limited staff capacity, we're not able to take advantage of them. That is going to be the gap that these contracted people fill for us. Lastly, this is the first time I've been through this, but I believe at some point we're going to need to talk about a building committee for the public safety complex. We have added it to the drop down for the boards and commissions. There have been 2 residents that, based on the social media posts, have expressed interest in the process and how to do that. So we quickly added it so that we can start taking in some names. So I will leave that to you as to what the appropriate timing is for that. And lastly, to answer Councilor Ludwig's question, I did look into the fuel assistance for Enfield, and there are 4 different sources where people can currently go. And we also have added $10,000 for disadvantaged households to Cindy Guerreri's Social Services Fund. So right now, I think that we're going to be okay, but it is something that we're going to monitor throughout the winter. Follow-up items from earlier this meeting. We do have overtime parking ordinances, Section 82. We're going to bring those through that whole process where we look at everything else. I am going to ask that the referral be made to public safety for the Civilian Review Board discussion. I also think that it would be appropriate to make a referral to policy and procedures, because we're going to have to renumber those sections. If you recall, per Mrs. Price's reference, we did change the agenda and we did reorder things. We must have missed that section, so you could do that, because we are due to have a policy and procedures meeting probably in the next few weeks. Joint security should be getting scheduled before the holidays, I would hope. I will check on the public hearings as to the roads work, and we will actually do some more social media to push for the wreaths because of what that goal is going to be between now and then. I think that's it to date for the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Are there any reports from special committees of the council? Does anybody have any? Okay, we will move forward to new business under the consent agenda. There are 5 that are on the consent agenda. Are there any items that the council would like to remove for discussion? And if not, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar agenda items A1 through 5?
Motion to approve.
Councilor
Second.
Mangini, and a second from Councilor Nelson. All in favor? Against? And abstentions? I counted 11-0. Okay, unanimous. All right, moving onward to appointments. This is the Enfield Beautification Committee. A vacancy exists due to the resignation of Tim Norris. Replacement will be Jessica Kanelski until 12/1/2024. Do I have a motion to nominate?
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Nelson, and second, Deputy Mayor Sakala. Any discussion or anything? I did have a conversation with her. She's really looking forward to being on this committee. She does know a few people that are on there, and this what made her apply for this, and she has extensive background in gardening. So she's really looking forward to it. So all in favor, by a show of hands, looks like 11 in favor, unanimous. So welcome, Jessica. And now we will be moving onward to discussion resolutions. The first one will be under C, the resolution to set the 2023 regular town council meeting dates. All right, let's hold on one second. Okay. All right, be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council does hereby approve the dates for the 2023 Town Council regular meetings.
So moved.
Councilor Mangini.
Second.
And a second, Deputy Mayor Sakala. Now, the schedule for, that's presented in this packet, due to the many Monday holidays, we're recommending that a shift in certain meetings with which the town council policy and procedures allows to be made if the majority votes it, per section 1 entitled regular meetings. So, is there any discussion on any of the what's presented? If not, okay, yeah.
I personally don't think we should cancel the February meeting. I think we should do that one on a Tuesday as well as the September meeting. July and August, I understand is vacation, so we've always had just one meeting then. November, yes, it is an election, but I believe that in February and in September, I believe we should move those meetings to Tuesday. And so I won't be voting for this.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councilor Nelson?
I always thought we took the month of August off. No?
There's always one.
Okay.
One meeting.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you. Kenzie?
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Councilor Despard?
4.
Councilor Finger?
4.
Councilor Hopkins?
4.
Councilor Ludwig?
Against.
Councilor Mangini?
4.
Councilor Nelson?
4.
Councilor Pisner?
Against.
Councilor Santinella?
4.
Councilor Ungary?
4.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
9-4, 2 against.
Item D, discussion resolution request for transfer of funds for the 2022-2023 DUI grant of $75,754. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is made from the DUI Enforcement Program, $75,754, to the DUI Enforcement Program, overtime $74,296, Medicare $1,078, workers' comp $305, and unemployment $75. Date prepared November 2nd, 2022, prepared by John A. Wilcox, Director of Finance.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Mangini, and a second by Councilor Nelson. Any discussion on this? Councilor Finger.
Thank you, Mayor. So my understanding in the past was that none of this money included the extra dispatchers that I put on for that night. They don't put the extra dispatchers on for these DUI nights. Is that something we can look into to see, if we can, if they're going to have all these extra officers, DUI checks, they're being called in, they got fire calls, they got other police calls, they got, distress calls, whatever, coming into the dispatch center. Be nice if we can get some extra help for than just minimal staff that they have. If you could look into it, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Kenzie?
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Councilor Despard?
4.
Councilor Finger?
4.
Councilor Hopkins?
4.
Councilor Ludwig?
4.
Councilor Mangini?
4.
Councilor Nelson?
4.
Councilor Pisner?
4.
Councilor Santinella?
4.
Councilor Ungary?
4.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
11 in favor, 0 against.
Item E, discussing the resolution to request to appropriate additional funds received from the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood to the Enfield Child Development Center in the amount of $43,060. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is hereby made from COVID-19 ARPA, miscellaneous state revenue, $43,060, to ECDC stipends, $40,000, Social Security, $2,480, Medicare, $580. Date prepared November 8, 2022, prepared by Cynthia Guerreri, Director of Social Services.
So moved.
Councilor Mangini,
Second.
and a second by Deputy Mayor Sakala. Ellen, do you have anything, or Steve? Yep.
Yes, we received notice of this maybe a few weeks ago. The governor's office and the Connecticut State Legislature recognizes that early child educators are historically paid at a very low level compared to almost any other industry. And this is their attempt to recognize that by giving a one-time wage supplement for full-time and part-time employees. Full-time employees would be getting a $1,000 wage adjustment, and part-time employees would be getting $400 wage adjustment. We have 34 employees that meet that criteria for full-time and 15 employees that would meet that criteria for part-time. We even feel that impact ourselves. We have 3 vacant full-time positions and 5 vacant part-time positions. We're losing people to go work at Target. Less stress, more money. So this is their attempt at trying to curtail the exodus of employees in early childhood in the private sector, but also in the public sector as well. So this is a pass-through from the state right to our employees, and I think they would appreciate it if you guys supported them.
Okay, thank you very much. Any discussion from anyone? Kenzie?
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Councillor Despard?
4.
Councillor Finger?
4.
Councillor Hopkins?
4.
Councillor Ludwig?
Abstain.
Councillor Mangini?
4.
Councillor Nelson?
4.
Councillor Pisner?
4.
Councillor Santinella?
4.
Councillor Ungary?
4.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
10 in favor, 0 against, 1 abstention.
Okay, item F, discussing resolution, the resolution to approve a 3-year collective bargaining agreement with CSEA-SEIU, local number 2001, the supervisory union. Resolved that the Enfield Town Council does hereby approve the 3-year collective bargaining agreement between the Town of Enfield and the Connecticut State Employees Supervisory Union, Local 2001, dated July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2025, date prepared October 25th, 2022, prepared by Steve Belinda. Councilor Mangini, and a second by Councilor Nelson. Steve?
Yes, as I mentioned in executive session, this is one of our very small unions, but still important nonetheless regarding the employees that we have in this union. It mirrors at least 2 other collective bargaining agreements you guys have endorsed earlier this year with the wage structure. There's only 3 items we agreed to, which is the COLAs, 3-year duration, and then the water pollution control superintendent was given an additional vacation time. He didn't even request more money, although he's worth it, believe me. But there was no other step increases, wage adjustments, nothing like that. It was straight across the board. Those 3 items.
Okay, thank you very much. Kenzie?
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Councillor Despard?
4.
Councillor Finger?
I better be treated better. 4. Just kidding.
Councillor Hopkins?
4.
Councillor Ludwig?
4.
Councillor Mangini?
4.
Councillor Nelson?
4.
Councillor Pisner?
4.
Councillor Santinella?
4.
Councillor Ungary?
4.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
11 in favor.
Item G, discussing resolution referral from the Leisure Services Subcommittee for $15,000 to repair cracks at the South Road pickleball courts. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is hereby made from the fuel tank removal construction services of $15,000 to the pickleball courts construction services, $15,000. Date prepared November 8th, 2022, prepared by John A. Wilcox, Director of Finance.
So moved.
Deputy Mayor Sakala, and a second by Councilor Ungary. Ellen?
Is there any specific question?
Well, no specific questions. This did come out of the Leisure Services Subcommittee as a recommendation, and we were all in agreement for this. Councilor Hopkins, question?
I could speak briefly to this. There is a lot of interest in pickleball locally. We've got some really active players and teams. It's likely to grow. It's a national trend. Our court currently is not in great shape. I think personally, I think it's something that should be considered on for the next budget. Stopgap measure, this $15,000 would be enough to kind of stabilize it. So that's the setup coming out of the Recreation Subcommittee.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Finger.
Question would be the repair. If this is passed, when does the repair happen?
In consultation with our Public Works Director, he does not believe it will happen this season right now. It would probably have to wait for the spring, which is why we're electing to just do the patch repair. And if there are specific concerns about the choice of where we're pulling the money from, Mr. Wilcox is here, but we did have a few choices of where to pull the money per the recommendation of Leisure Services, and this was the one that I think is the best fit.
Right. So the reason why I asked that was a good answer, because if we were planning to do it now, I would say no, because, winter contraction and expansion when the weather gets better and warmer.
Right.
So that would be one of the issues I would have had. So
And, if there's other grants or funding or the conditions worsen, you're now looking at a budget process that could actually
that's fine.
Change this.
That's cool. Thank you.
Councilor Ludwig.
I'm just curious. I think this was done 2.5, 3 years ago. Do we have any warranty? I mean, this was just redone. Maybe it wasn't 2.5 years, but the fact that we already had a crack seal, something that we just did.
Yeah.
Is there any warranty we can get out of the contractor?
There isn't, and it is the recommendation of the Public Works Director that if we do anything significant with the courts, that we do it in such a way that it is the appropriate material that does have that longevity in terms of, this is just a asphalted tennis court or basketball court.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
a
it?
tennis court,
Yeah.
maybe, you're right. But I think we just did it for $45,000 like 2.5 years ago, roughly off the top of my head. But I don't know if you remember, I don't know, do we maybe start looking, we do some of these contracting, they get a little bit of a guarantee? Seems pretty quick. I'm not against them, just saying, we did spend money a few years ago on this. So just curious, but if there's no guarantee, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kenzie.
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Councilor Despard?
4.
Councilor Finger?
4.
Councilor Hopkins?
4.
Councilor Ludwig?
4.
Councilor Mangini?
4.
Councilor Nelson?
4.
Councilor Pisner?
4.
Councilor Santinella?
4.
Councilor Ungar?
4.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
11 in favor.
Item H, discussion resolution, the resolution from Blight Review Committee to authorize the foreclosure for the property maintenance fines totaling $339,222 for 17 Burnham Street. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council hereby authorizes the foreclosure of 17 Burnham Street for the $339,222 in property maintenance fines, and be it further resolved that the town manager or her designee is authorized to begin the foreclosure process for the property maintenance liens referenced above, date prepared November 14th, 2022, prepared by the Office of Community Development. Councilor Mangini, and a second, Councilor Hopkins, or Councilor Santinella, I'm sorry. My bad. No. Any discussion on this? Councilor Hopkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, this is kind of unusual. We don't see a whole lot of these foreclosures coming from the Blight Review Committee. In this case, we have a gentleman who is technically the property owner. His wife was court ordered to take him off. His ex-wife was court ordered to take him off the property. Didn't, and this, ultimately she was having some difficulties, and she accrued a significant amount of, as you can see, fines. At this point, I think the Blight Review Committee unanimously is interested in making sure that this is fixed for the surrounding neighbors as soon as possible. This is kind of a test case to see if this foreclosure method works better than just trying to simply negotiate with the bank or encourage the bank, which perhaps hasn't in the past. So our recommendation is that we try to foreclose on this and see, is this efficient?
Okay, thank you. Kenzie?
No.
Oh, excuse me, Councilor Nelson. I didn't see your hand up.
So we had a meeting with the gentleman, or about the property at Blight, and the gentleman was not present, so we scheduled another meeting so the owner could be present, and he explained very well, and I didn't think he was going to be able to get to me, but he did, about the situation he's in, and it's not a good one, and it's has nothing to do with him, but he's stuck with it. So I had recommended, and I'm discussing it with you, that if he agrees to do a deed in lieu of foreclosure, because the town holds first lien on this, so that would put us over the bank, and we do not have to foreclose on the gentleman who doesn't live there, and he just wants the issue resolved, that the council would consider eliminating the deficiency judgment that we could impose against him for the balance, because the house is not worth $339,000 plus cost. It's worth probably $160,000. So we may clear $140,000, but him working with the town to rectify this as soon as possible, I think that's an appropriate action to take, working with the homeowner, helping out the residents that are around him, and, you know, get this property back on the, Yep.
Okay.
So
very good.
That's how I would support this. So
Okay.
if we were all in agreement to that.
Okay. Councilor Santinello.
Yeah, I happen to be at both of those meetings, and that's my understanding of what this is the first step in that process, correct? So we need to take this step first.
I understand, but I'm not sure I would take this step if we're not going to agree to release him on the deficiency.
Right, and so I agree with you that is
Okay.
the right course of action.
Right. So I think we would be all in agreement with that.
Okay.
For this course of action. Counselor?
Right.
Go ahead.
Thank
Counselor
you.
Mangini.
Through our mayor to Councilman Nelson, are you looking for a friendly amendment or just as it stands?
No, I take you guys.
Oh, okay.
It's on the
As it-
record now,
yeah.
and, you know, we're all in agreement. And
Okay.
really, we don't know what that number would be, so I think John is correct, that we go forward, and then,
Yes.
once we get the sale amount,
Correct. Okay. All right. Kenzie?
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Counselor Despard?
4.
Counselor Finger?
4.
Counselor Hopkins?
4.
Counselor Ludwig?
4.
Counselor Mangini?
Or
Counselor Nelson?
4.
Counselor Pisner? 4. Counselor Santinella?
4.
Counselor Ungary? 4. Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
11 in favor.
Okay, item J, recommendation from Public Works Subcommittee concerning the facilities use policy. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council does hereby amend the facilities use policy Schedule A to reflect that the Enfield High School fields are not available for outside rental until further notice. Refers to the matter of security upgrades to the Public Works Building and Grounds Division, and refers back to the Public Works Subcommittee the matter of the tiered rental policy for the fields and amenities for such time that the fields are available to outside groups. Date prepared November 14th, 2022. Date prepared by Town Manager Ellen Zapusasso and the Board of Ed Athletic Director Corey O'Connell, reviewed by the Public Works Subcommittee on 11/3/2022.
So moved.
Councilor Mangini, and a second by Deputy Mayor Sakala. Okay, Councilor
Unless I'm
Ludwig.
going crazy, I was at the meeting, and I don't remember us making this change. I remember we discussed it, that it would be coming to us, that again, there was issues that, you know, and it was discussing about the turf field, where again, you know, just the turf field's redone and there's people already using it. I just, again, unless I misunderstood, I don't remember ever agreeing to, because this, I'm reading this, we're basically shutting the entire fields down, which was, I'm sorry, we didn't discuss that at our meeting. It was supposed to come back to us. The recommendation was, again, there was concern about the use, the turf. And I want to make sure I understand exactly what is being shut down, because I know there's a gate from the parking lot to the fields. There's a gate on the track. So what are we actually shutting down? And are we going to, so if someone's playing baseball, if it affects the baseball field, I mean, if some, again, I think this is not what we discussed at the Public Safety Committee. And again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. So I don't know if that's through the mayor to the town manager. Again, this is, I'm not in favor of shutting down the whole school. And then when we say temporarily, I think we need to be a little more specific on exactly how long this is going to be. That's just my recommendation. I mean, again, we discussed this was going to come back to the subcommittee. Not that we're actually going to vote on it at the next council meeting, shutting off the fields. Unless I misunderstood, I have to admit, I don't think this is correct.
Well, go ahead.
Well, so that meeting had a lot of moving pieces. So it was a very robust conversation on a variety of issues, and we had guests, and there was a lot. This resolution has 3 components to it, and those are the 3 areas where I thought that there was consensus to move forward. You can subtract, add, defer on any of those items, but I just do want to reference that there are 3 specific items from the Public Works Subcommittee on subjects of importance that we want the town council to weigh in on. So one is the use of the turf fields, and I think I could loosely describe it as anything within the fenced area. The second issue is the rental policy itself and the costs associated with it. And then, especially in reference to the new amenities. And then the third piece is the security issue and the suggestion from the BOE that it's time to change the keys in the digital code access due to the improvements. So all 3 of those can be acted on independently, or they can be grouped, referred back, however your pleasure is on any of those items.
Yeah, personally, I'm fine with the turf field, but the other 2 should be referred back. I'm not ready to, I understand the turf, but certainly not ready to shut down the entire field to the public. It's taxpayer money, it's their field. I understand the turf, we just did it, and it's for the kids. Completely understand that, we don't want to ruin it, but the rest of the fields, we should not be shutting down. And it should be referred back to the DPW subcommittee. Thank you.
Well, we were, at that meeting also, all 3 of these items were, and it was also the last page of the packet that we did have. We did discuss all 3 of these, and it was my understanding that when we left, we had agreed that, the turf area, the actual usage of, a brand-new facility where, we don't need the town coming in. The high school should be using this field, where they're still doing work down there. We don't need other groups coming in. I thought that we had agreed to all of this. We agreed to the changing of the locks and the keys. We agreed to, the use of the turf field and the use of the sound system and the press box. We had agreed, and maybe you misunderstood, but this is what we had agreed to in the subcommittee, and this is why it was here. Councilor Hopkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was definitely a lot on at that meeting. I think there was general agreement. I interpreted that as these going forward, but I can definitely see how that occurred. I personally support going forward on these. I don't see, I think we've had the discussion, at least from my perspective, to the point that I don't have any unanswered questions, but I can respect that, we should maybe get that explicit agreement in the future. Yeah.
Okay, Councilor Pisner, and then Councilor.
I do agree that the turf should be for our athletes, our student athletes. I think the only thing that I look at this as people can't go and walk the track. People that live in that area, just go walk the track. Green Valley Housing has a lot of kids, and the kids do go and play in the grass over there. So I am torn on this. I understand that people take advantage. And I think that's the sad part of it. People are going to walk their dog. They're going to not clean up. But I am torn on the fact that we're shutting down. We're telling somebody they can't walk on a track that their tax dollars pay for.
No, I get that. And please remember that we've already had major damage to that track when somebody lit that on fire also. All right, there's a lot of vandalism down there. They had porta potties inflamed. I do not think that a brand new facility should be open at this point in time. Let's let this thing settle a little. I'm not saying that I'm totally against of people using the track, all right? But, you know, if they want to walk, there's a lot of area that they can walk around Enfield High School. That's a pretty big track. I see a lot of people walking around there, okay? They walk around the parking lot. This is a brand-new facility. We're not talking about the annex here. You know, we put a lot of money, and I think we owe that. This is a recommendation from the athletic director of the high school, along with us. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor
Thank you.
Scala.
Just briefly, I'm going to be supporting this. I think it's always good practice in general to change key codes and locks every couple of years, regardless. So I think that's definitely something that should be done here and probably in some other locations, to be perfectly honest. We just put a lot of money into that area. We have availability over at the annex for people to use that track. I don't see this as a shutting down the fields, although I understand people can kind of see it that way. We're shutting it down and not allowing or hoping to prevent unauthorized group use for people who are coming in to use these fields that aren't paying, who are from out of town, and that really aren't putting their fair share back into the community that us taxpayers are paying for. We have plenty of fields in this town that if there is a sports team that needs a field, we can find them another field for now. I think this is a temporary solution, and if it's coming from the athletic director and we need to sort of protect a massive investment for now, I think that that's something that we really should do.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Finger and then Councilor Nelson.
No, go ahead, Doug.
So just to under a little better understanding, because I'm a little lost here about what's being closed, what's not. So it's going to be the whole new turf and track area, right? Is the grass area, is that still going to be open for people to go out and kick a ball or something? I mean, we're not locking them out of that, right? Well, the gates are wide open. You have to change them. I'm just saying, but they can get in there. Trust me. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But we're not going to make it mandatory that grass area is not locked down, right? No. Okay. And the other thing I got is being in that division for many of years. Is the fencing going to be repaired along the side where the little practice field is before the turf? Because that's how there was a big hole there. We used to try to bandage that up, but they just kept cutting it out and hopping over, and they caused a lot of vandalism. And I understand. I've seen it all. I know it all. I don't mean it that way. I don't know it all. You know what I'm saying? I just know what's happened a lot down there. And especially with the sound system, the amount of money that the town has spent trying to get sound system in there right. I dealt with the contractors doing that. I mean, I understand fully about that. I like to support it, but I just want to make sure I'm clear on what I'm supporting on is that we still have access for residents down there, especially like on Nutmeg. There is an older couple that you and I they were our teachers in Windsor Locks. They like to walk. They use the track. But I mean, it's fine. But again, we have to make sure if you're gonna restrict this area, you're gonna have to fix those things from people to come over there. You know, from being able to hop that fence and everything else and cut through it. And then one of the other things is who's going to look at this facility like on Sundays? Because when I was the crew leader down there, Sundays, even on my days off, I used to drive down there and catch this what they call those strong arm classes, you know what I'm saying, where they did all the heavy duty training. They were dragging, 50-pound weights with rope across the turf. It was ripping it up. And I got mad at them. I said, you guys got to get out of here. And I couldn't kick them out because there was nothing legally I can do. But I mean, is there going to be some way of making sure that stuff like this doesn't happen? Because you can get in there. So.
Yes, I think those are the exact types of situations that we're trying to safeguard against. But I think that there's one other piece that I want to add to the discussion tonight, and that is we've installed the new turf, we've installed the new track, and we've done some improvements. But this is still an active construction site because now they're adding those two ancillary buildings on either side of the bleachers, which will be used for teams and for storage. So one of the concerns that the athletic director has, and I just pulled up his email, and he doesn't really address it specifically in the email, but I know that his concern is when you allow other groups to come in, that there isn't that level of control and oversight that is necessary. So you have people all over. It's very hard to control, whereas when it's a scholastic event, those coaches, the teachers, anybody that's associated with Enfield High School knows the parameters of you can't be in that area, and there's enough supervision to prevent that from happening. The fences are being repaired, but at this point, I think very short term, they're just concerned about finishing these projects without having any other undue problems being caused down there, and there have been several. There's been vandalism, there's been access. The situations that you described with users coming in on the weekends without permits, it's rampant. And so this is going to be something that will at least control the environment while we finish these projects, while there's open sites, while there's construction equipment, while there's supplies, and we at least have, a better chance of limiting our liability and ensuring that the investment that we're making is preserved.
Right. And the last thing, I'm sorry, Mayor, just one last thing is that once that brand new turf is done, and especially, we used to have this long tarp that went across from the entrance for the players to come in off the northwest side of that facility. They used to come into the gate, and there was a nice big tarp that we used to have that they had to walk on so their cleats wouldn't rip up the turf, the track and everything. I mean, did we purchase another one of those, or are we planning on doing that? Because we don't want to have all this, like you said, invest all this money, and then next we're even allowing our own athletes to come in here with cleats on and other teams.
Well, part of the purpose of those buildings will be that they will not have to go back and forth to the school because those buildings will allow them to do the halftime intermissions, any kind of medical assist right there at the field.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor Nelson.
Doug hit one of the questions is a lot of the residents aren't aware that it takes special cleats to go out onto that turf field, and regular cleats will do damage. I was kind of on the fence about this, but I look at, we spent millions in the last 6-8 years on recreation throughout the town, splash pads, upgrading ball fields. Both parties did it, and they've done a phenomenal job. We have a state-of-the-art high school, and I think we should have a state-of-the-art sports facility. And if I'm correct, the baseball fields are still under to the point that the seniors don't even play baseball at the school. So that would be my question is, yes, I agree we're still under construction, but I believe as soon as I got on the council, money was taken away from fixing the drainage on those baseball fields. What are we doing to finish building a state-of-the-art facility that this town can be proud of for our high school? I think it should blend right in with the high school. I do support this, the fields basically being the home field for our high school. And, the high school is going to have pride and take care of it. And it's not right that, one of our athletes is playing football and gets tackled in a pile of dog crap. That's just not right. And not all people do it, but people do. They don't care. Yeah. And I do. So I just would like an update on what's going on with the baseball fields so they can match the quality of our football and track.
Okay, well,
Gina.
All right, Deputy Mayor
Sorry, I
Scala.
know it's going to derail us, but just very briefly, my understanding is, Ken, that one of the things that happened is that there was a discussion about doing this massive field revamp down there, which would include moving the location of the football field and kind of swapping it with where the baseball and the soccer fields were. But then you're talking 15 million, or don't quote me on that number, but something like 10 to 15 million dollars of money that we didn't have and the school department doesn't have right now in order to fix that. And so what they needed to do is, because that turf field was so far beyond its life expectancy, is to do that as soon as possible. So now you have a brand new field there. So at this point, you kind of really can't even look at fixing all that drainage, because I think just the drainage alone is a couple of $1 million. So I do, and I will say that I've been part of some of those discussions where we've talked about what can we do to have these fields match this high school, because it's something that I've been trying to asking for years. But I mean, you're talking a massive, massive price tag. But I agree with you. But it's all money.
Councilor Ludwig.
I'm not going crazy. I'm looking at my agenda right now. I got everything. So again, it was an amendment to the discussion, but we weren't, and some of the things are here, but I want to be clear. In this resolution, we didn't talk about bringing this to a resolution. I'm not going crazy. I know exactly what we talked about. I'm okay with the turf field. But the resolution, again, this is going to be an amendment to an existing policy. Schedule A doesn't have this on here. This is when it bothers me when we do this. We make this amendment, now it's part of Schedule A, we forget about it. I want to add an amendment to the Enfield, in the second sentence, the Enfield High School turf fields. I want it to be clear that are not available. I don't want to be bothering people who are playing any other fields. I want to make the word turf after, on the second sentence, the Enfield High School turf, add the word turf in between school and fields.
Under the be it resolved?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, this was not sent, we did not discuss this at the subcommittee meeting, and I want to be clear that the rest of I don't want to be bothering people who are doing what they're doing, especially if it snows and the kids are going to be using, the sledding. So that's my amendment. Hopefully there's a second.
I'll second it.
I'm just going to make one comment. I don't have an issue with that, but, if you take a look at the summary, it does talk about
Again, but
about
as
that.
I do, it's an amendment to
I
an
hear you. I'm not
existing
gonna
policy,
worry
Bob.
about it.
Sorry, it's got to be in writing.
Okay. So, discussion on the amendment. Go ahead.
Thank
Deputy
you.
Mayor Scala.
So I guess I'm not looking at it as bothering a kid with his family member playing on the baseball field. I am looking at it as we're trying to prevent an organized team from having an organized event on these fields not authorized. So while I agree with you that I don't want to not allow, some local kids or some neighborhood kids to be able to play on these fields. That's not what I'm trying to do, but that's not how I read this resolution. I read it as what we're trying to do is prevent an actual team, or most of a team, from having a game or a practice or an unauthorized event at these fields. So unless, I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm looking for who's right. I'm not saying one of us is right or one of us is wrong, but that's how I'm looking at this. So if it is just outside rentals for other organizations and other teams and things like that, then I'm not going to support that amendment, because I think it doesn't fall within what we're trying to do.
I can answer that. The policy already takes that into account by naming the teams that can use the fields for free. That's what the point of the policy that already exists. Now you're adding something a little more, again, open-ended, that is going against the original purpose of the policy. So it's already in the policy, to answer your question. It's already there. There's only certain teams that can use the fields without being charged. It's already in there. That's what the policy is all about. So now you're going to say, this is too open-ended. I'm adding a word. I agree the turf fields, we should be protecting them, but I don't want it to be any ambiguity, because again, ambiguity leads to own interpretation, and those fields are, the rest of it's all taxpayer money. I'm okay with leaving the turf fields, but not the rest of the facility. And the policy already takes into account that.
When I look at the resolution here, okay, it says the Enfield High School fields are not available for outside rental until further notice, until the work gets done. So I mean, this is I would say, temporary until further notice because of the construction that's being done down on the fields. When that construction is done on the fields, these fields are going to be open, Mike, to the outside groups again. So, it's just a matter of semantics here. So, I'm ready to move forward with this. Okay, we'll vote on the amendment. All right. All in favor of the amendment? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Against the amendment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 against, 5 in favor. Amendment fails. Okay, I think we're ready, Kenzie. Now we can vote on the original resolution.
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Councillor Despard?
For.
Councillor Finger?
Against.
Councillor Hopkins?
For.
Councillor Ludwig?
Against.
Councillor Mangini?
For.
Councillor Nelson?
For.
Councillor Pisner?
Against.
Councillor Santinella?
For.
Councillor Ungary?
For.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
Eight in favor, 3 against.
Item K, discussion resolution to refer the matter of parking and snow fine amounts to the General Government and Finance Subcommittee for review. Do I have a motion to refer?
Motion.
So moved.
Councilor Nelson, and a second by Deputy Mayor Sakala. I'll direct this to our town manager. Any? Ellen?
Yes, Mayor. So as part of our usual review of items and partly sparked by the Francis Street and Highland Park discussion, but also augmented by some concerns that we have in Thompsonville for snow removal based on experiences in the last couple of years, we thought that it would be appropriate to send to General Government and Finance a review of the parking violations, which are reflected by this sheet that I included in your packet, which is the current list of fines. For those viewing the meeting that can't see it, it ranges from prohibited zone and parking within 25 feet of an intersection. There's about 6 or 7 fines that are at the $10 level. There's a few, like parking within 20 feet of a fire station driveway, that go up to 15. Within 20 feet of a crosswalk, it's at $20. If you're on the sidewalk, it's $25. Commercial vehicles and residential zones and fire lane zone violations are at $50. And the highest one we have, which is still below our neighbors, is handicap spaces without permits, is an $85 fine. And we do have a box marked as other. So if we were to create residential parking permits, what would the fine be? Would it be a prohibited zone at $10? Is that in fact a disincentive for people, or would they just gladly pay it like they pay, for other services? Likewise, our snow policies and our snow fines for violations range for, again, $10. $20, and so we're not really sure that they're working because we are not getting the cooperation and collaboration in Thompsonville for snow removal, and it's a very difficult situation and one that actually does impede public safety access. So again, with a rollout of increased communication and notification to the neighbors, there was some discussion that maybe we should look at these fines, not inclusive only to those neighborhoods. They would be effective townwide, but nobody could find the last time that these might have been potentially increased. There is a request for information that has gone out to the interlocal police departments that we work with to gather that data, and I'm expecting that from the traffic division shortly, which I will share with the council as well, so that you can see the disparities.
Okay, thank you very much for that explanation. And this is just a referral?
Yes.
Okay. Kenzie?
Mayor Crissati?
4.
Councillor Despard?
4.
Councillor Finger?
4.
Councillor Hopkins?
4.
Councillor Ludwig?
Against.
Councillor Mangini?
4.
Councillor Nelson?
4.
Counselor Pisner? 4. Counselor Santinella?
4.
Counselor Ungary?
4.
Deputy Mayor Sakala?
4.
10 in favor, 1 against.
Okay, item 12, any other further business to come before the said meeting? Okay, 13, public communications. Anybody wishing to come forward? Mr. Tikatz? 3 minutes. Welcome.
Can you hear me? Okay. Bob T. Katz, 815 Woodgate Circle. I'm going to talk about Mark Twain. That's a dangerous place. And this Mr. Denny, he has 3 scooters in there. He's trying to do repairs on them. No problem. He has 3 scooters, which he's working on. He does some work on them. The manufacturer will not sell them parts. It has to be done by a professional mechanic. But however, he's got old technology, and if he's using oxygen, you could get a spark off these switches because they're open connectors. The only thing that's allowed with oxygen is the power wheelchairs. They're sealed, they're old, they're lead acid technology. They're not lithium batteries. Lithium batteries is it's a bomb. They explode, they burn. Use all these car fires, they're lithium batteries. In New York with all the motor scooters, people put them in their apartments overnight, they flame up. So I think we ought to look into who's using what in that facility. That facility is a fire hazard, if that's what's happening in there. Secondly, Saturday, I was on the Mass Turnpike going to Londonderry, and I seen this tanker truck, Dallas, Texas. The guy went into the Carlton Plaza. I went in and talked to him. He says, we got about 1,000 trucks coming up to New England. And I said, well, what about Connecticut? He says, Connecticut has their own strategic reserve. He says, you're not going to run out of oil. We don't have any orders to deliver to them because they have plenty of oil. He says, we're delivering to Maine, Vermont, Rhode Island, New Hampshire. He says, and then we work our way back through New York State. He says, there's going to be plenty of oil this year. The refineries just got all their parts to go to the winter blend, and they will produce enough oil. And we have to, because out of oil we get asphalt to do the roads in the summer. We get the bottom coke to make aluminum. The other thing we have is most of the plastics are made out of oil. So if we don't have oil, we don't have any of these things that we see around here. We're going to have to go all wood and iron. So oil is a necessary thing for our society. We have 1,000 years of oil in Pennsylvania, natural gas. So we have plenty. We just don't have enough refineries. You have to go to the summer blend in the summer, in the spring, and you have to convert the refineries to the winter blend in the winter. They had trouble this year getting parts for the refineries. It's a distillation process. You get 100 products out of a barrel of oil. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Walter?
Walter J. Cruzel, 21 Charney Road. Back almost 3 hours ago, when you guys were talking about the bid waiver for the water pollution control, Councilor Ludwig had a good question about the term limit on the bid waiver. But there was one point that the director of the water pollution control made that, and the question was, or maybe it was Councilor Finger said, have you ever seen this before? And the point that the director of the water pollution control said, he's been in this position 30 years in different towns. He's never seen it before. I wonder if it's one of those two pictured up there that is the difference now. So just think about that.
Is there anybody else that would like to come in front of the council? Public communications are declared over.
I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? So move, Councilor Nelson, and second by Councilor Mangini. All in favor? Unanimous, 11-0. Meeting is adjourned, and have a good evening, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you.